San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Tuesday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We're back, baby. Back in action after a fun little weekend trip to Stagecoach. Big thank you to KSON for helping me experience that for the first time ever in my life. Had a great time. We'll talk about that later on in the show because we got a lot to talk about when it comes to the weekend for the Padres. And, of course, last night's game. I will say this. I got to go all the way back to Thursday. Because Thursday was the last day that I was on the air. We had the Epic Padres Roundtable presented by Epic Wings. We did our 1-hour show. We talked to Sam Levitt about Love is Blind. I mean, we had a lot of great times had by all on Thursday. As I'm driving up to the desert, I got Jesse and Tony on for as long as I possibly can before we left the signal. And then I flipped it over to, I had the TV broadcast playing on my phone in terms of a listening moment as I was going through the desert, and I was watching this Padres team just kind of lay an egg, it seemed like, in Colorado. I mean, Matt Waldron, not very good against the Rockies. And, Padres at this point, I forgot how much they were down pretty big going into the later innings, and then all of a sudden, my friend had to she needed to go to the bathroom right before we got to the desert, so we decided to, or right before we got to Palm Desert, so we're pulling off the freeway, and the Padres are just starting the ninth inning. Yeah, they get a couple of runs back, and I'm like, all right, cool. At least they made it somewhat close. We go inside, use the bathroom. As I walk out of the gas station, I walk into the gas station, and Andujar got the knock to make it a 1-run game or 2-run game or something like that. I walk out of the gas station, all of a sudden it was the Padres are up 10-8, whatever it was. Truly remarkable comeback on the trip. So that was fun. And then over the weekend, again, they were off Friday, so didn't worry about a game on Friday. Watched the game Saturday, which was fun. Sunday, obviously, it didn't go the Padres' way. And I mentioned to a lot of my friends, on Sunday's game in Mexico, the games that you stole, they're gonna balance themselves out eventually. And Craig Stammen said it the best. That got to last night's game. Last night's game was kind of a wild game, and we're going to talk about all the different aspects of last night's game. But, Padres took a 3-0 lead. Cubs rally back. Cubs get a grand slam. Padres have to come back again. Padres get a big lead going in the ninth inning, and then Mason Miller gives up the first runs he has given up all year. And the streak is now gone. Now, what we're going to start the show off with is we're going to talk about that fair foul ball kind of conversation. Because I think a lot of people are, I think they're questioning what. Honestly, after last night, I saw the image. I'm like, there's no way that that's a fair ball. And then I saw all the rules, and then I saw AJ Castle say well, it's technically fair because of this. And then this morning, again, same thing. And then AJ Castle goes actually, they changed the rules, so I guess they got that wrong. Nobody has any idea what a fair foul ball is. What is this, football? What's a catch, Frank?
It's a thing.
Right. It's a thing. Fair foul ball. It's a thing, I guess. All right. So I looked at the rules yesterday, and I walked them back again today. Now, here's the reality of the situation. People are going to get upset with this. That is technically a fair ball last night, according to the rules. So whether or not You think the rule is dumb is not what's at play here. The question is whether or not that ball last night, as it rolled up the third baseline and then rolled into foul territory, was fair or foul when Ty France touched it. It's fair. Now, fair territory, as according to the rule books, everything inside and including the foul lines, the white chalk lines from home to first and home to third, plus the bases themselves, and the lines themselves are fair. A batted ball is fair if it settles on fair ground between home and first or home and third, or it is on or over fair territory when it is touched by a player or umpire, or if it first falls on fair territory or beyond first or third base. So, once a fielder touches the ball, the call is locked in based on where the ball itself is in the exact moment of first touch. If any part of the ball is touching the chalk line or on the fair side of it, it's fair. If the entire ball is clearly in foul territory when touched, it's foul. So, according to the rules, because the ball is a sphere, right? Since the side part of the baseball was over the line, even though the bottom part of the ball was touching foul, like completely foul, according to Major League Baseball rules, as the ball is touched by a fielder, specifically between home and first, in this case, home and third, it is a fair ball. So, for everybody that's upset about yesterday, like, I get it. I saw the picture last night. I watched the play back because I was playing softball, and I looked at it, and I'm like, yeah, I can see why you could be upset. I'm like, that's kind of ridiculous. How is that a fair ball? Then you look at the rule book, and you're like, all right, well, maybe the rule's dumb, but that's what the rule is. Any portion of that ball is in any type of fair ground when the ball is touched, it is fair. And since the side of the ball was over the chalk line, not touching it, but over the chalk line when Ty touched the baseball, it is fair. So you can play the game of the sequencing. You can play the, like, if this happened, whatever. Like, do that as much as you want. The reality is, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Mason Miller gave up the runs. And at the end of the day, you won the game. Like, you won the game. But just to clarify the deal, it's fair. According to the rules, they got it right. I don't like the rule. I think the rule's kind of dumb. It goes against everything that I would like. I learned playing baseball. I asked the question that I'm sitting there to myself going, you think any of the guys at the sport, like, when I play softball, you think any of these sportsplex umpires have any idea about that rule if I try to argue it if that happened? Because you get a lot of those, a lot of tapping bunts up the third baseline. But you can't be upset at the umpire, be upset at baseball for making a stupid rule. That's my take on the entire rule from last night. It's a dumb rule. You can't be mad at the call because they got the call right. You could be mad at the rule. But at the end of the day, aside from Mason Miller giving up some runs to show that he's human, which he didn't look that. I mean, he looked a little wild. I mean, he had the wild pitch and he got hit around a little bit. And you knew, at least the ball didn't go flying over the fence. Because eventually somebody's going to sell out for the fastball and square a ball up. I mean, it's bound to happen. But at the end of the day, the Padres won. And when you're playing teams like the Cubs, you don't need any style points. You have to win series against the Cubs because you're going to be competing with them for a wild card spot. You're going to be competing for them for maybe hosting the wild card like we talked about last year. You're going to be competing for them for maybe the number 2 seed or a 1 seed. Like, this is a team you're competing with for seeding and or making the playoffs. You have to win series against the Cubs. You're now 1-0. So overall, Frank, I think the rule's dumb. I think if you want the rule, if you want something, if different outcome, you got to change the rule. Maybe the Padres will put that out there during the winter meetings or whenever they decide to do these rule meetings, these owners meetings. But that's what the rule is. You learned something last night, Padres fans, that any part of the ball over the line is fair.
Yeah, the way I thought of it, it was the hockey rule. If the puck is not completely over the goal line, and there's white between the goal line and the puck, then it's not a goal. So that's more or less the same situation that you had last night. And you could say about Ty France, he picked it up where you could clearly see when he picked it up, that ball moves more foul.
Well, he picked it up and moved it foul.
Yeah, exactly.
Also.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You can also see that ball is about to stop right as he picks it up. And honestly, to me at least, it looks like it's going to roll back towards the line. If anything, like it hit a rock and just was about to tilt a little bit more towards the line. That was, I mean, I don't blame Ty France for picking the ball up at that point. It looks foul. It appears to be foul. And I thought they ruled it a foul ball. It wasn't. It clearly was not. So, I mean, that's just the way I look at it. You learn that the foul line in between home and whichever base, third or first, it's the NHL goal line rule. The ball has to be completely over the line. And it wasn't. It clearly was not.
Somebody recreated too, like the way that again, the other thing that people need to understand is like the replay angles that you see don't give it. It's not straight down the line.
And the umpire was
straight down the line. And if you go back, like somebody on social media, I forget who it was, he recreated that to show like what the umpire's angle is.
Yeah.
The side of the baseball is over the line. A ball can be over a line without touching the line because it's a sphere. It's not a flat surface. So only the bottom part of the baseball, it's a lot smaller than the width of the baseball without getting into any type of physics or science lessons because I don't really care. And now I know why you can't challenge these plays. Because based on the angles, you will never be able to, you could never tell or interpret that rule. Now, if they made it where the ball's got to be touching in fair territory, then you can make it a reviewable play. But since they have all these different rules when it comes to fair or foul, you can't review those plays. You really can't. So, interesting to say, like Frank mentioned the hockey rule. The same thing is with breaking the plane in football. You just got to break the plane. Any nose of the ball, any portion of the football is over the line at any point in time, then it's a touchdown. So this is what we're talking about. This is the tweet that we saw earlier today. So as you could tell, based on the angle, again, this guy recreated it on his floor at his house. That is technically a fair baseball. That's technically fair. Can you make that full screen or no?
No. Well, I can, but it moves the image.
Hit the side arrow. Hit the side arrow.
Side arrow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
that. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. So as you could tell by this demonstration, if you're watching on YouTube, the ball is touching in foul territory, but the side of the ball is over the fair line. Therefore, that ball is fair. That was the umpire. That was the angle the umpire had. So again, semantics. Say what it is, whatever it may be. Yeah, I know the Padres won. I think it's an interesting topic. It's a conversation, though, because you don't see that stuff a lot.
Yeah.
But overall, I think eventually they got it right. Do I agree with the call? Not particularly. I think the rule needs to be changed, but it's a fair ball. It didn't lead to a Padres loss. If that led to a Padres loss, that would have been a little bit more tough to swallow today, I would say. But we got a lot. We got a lot to break down with the Padre game from last night. And again, I know a lot of people were trying to compare that fair foul to tennis. In tennis, it has to touch in play. In volleyball, it's got to touch in play. In baseball, it doesn't have to touch. It just has to be over the line. So anyway, take that for what it's worth. Other things from last night. Randy Vásquez has come back down to earth a little bit in his last couple of outings. We're going to talk more about Randy Vásquez later on the show. But I thought he battled through. Bullpen picked him up a little bit. It was good to see the bats come alive a little bit too. To get 9 runs on the board. Fantastic for the Pods. And, the Padres still battling there for trying to have the best record in baseball right behind Atlanta and the Dodgers, who walked off the Marlins last night. So that's fun. But overall, Frank, based on like the weekend, because I didn't get to talk about the weekend, The team's been grinding out there. Like the game on Sunday was frustrating, but they stole a win in Colorado to take 2 out of 3. Mm-hmm. I thought if you split in Mexico City, it would be great. They did. It's frustrating because they probably could have swept the weekend in Mexico City. So you're 1-1 against the Diamondbacks, whatever. Those count as, I'm pretty sure those were they were both Arizona home games, are they not?
Yes, they were.
Right. So now you get extra games at home against the Diamondbacks, and you don't have to go to the house of horrors that is Chase Field. So, and then last night you beat the Cubs. I think overall, Frank, the Padres are playing pretty good baseball right now. I really do. And here's the thing. Like, we'll talk about Fernando a little bit longer. I don't know how many times I have to. I don't. It'd be nice for him to hit home runs, Frank. But it's kind of hard to be upset with a guy that is leading Major League Baseball and hitting the ball incredibly hard.
Yeah,
that's what you want to see.
Yeah, he got a couple of hits last night as well. So the power isn't there, and I'm seeing synopses of why the power isn't there, comparing swings from years past. But as long as he is hitting, which he's looking like he's starting to do, and so is Manny, he's looking like he's starting to hit. Merrill was a little bit more up and down, but Manny was 3 for 4 last night with 2 doubles before he got taken out of that game for what Craig Stammen said after the game was purely precautionary reasons. So I'm encouraged at the trend and at the direction that the star players are going. As much as we talked about it yesterday, the star is not starring. They're starting to turn the corner, it looks like.
Yeah, you look at last night, everybody got a hit, but Fermin, he was 0 for 4. I mean, it'd be nice to get Freddie Fermin going a little bit more. I like his at-bats, though. At least he sees a lot of pitches. He only struck out 1 time, puts the ball in play. Jake Cronenworth subbed in defensively, so he didn't have an at-bat in that game, but everybody in the lineup got a hit. Laureano 1 for 4, Fernando 2 for 5, Merrill 1 for 5, Machado 3 for 4, Sheets 1 for 1 with a home run after he came into the game for Manny. Bogarts was 2 for 5, Andujar 1 for 3, Ty France 2 for 3. Castellanos got a knock, which broke up a incredibly terrible streak. But you look at the averages, they're starting to bump up a little bit. You look at the OPSs, they're starting to bump up a lot too. It's good to have your bench players and your role players like Andujar and France hitting close to 300. I mean, Andujar's hitting 313 still, and Ty France hitting 297. I mean, Ty drove in 4 runs yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He drove in 4 runs yesterday. So I think the offense is starting to trend in the right direction. When we come back, we're going to talk more about last night's game, more so than the rule of the fair foul ball, which Frank and I say, according to the rule book, they got it right. Padres still won anyway. Randy Vásquez got the win. Now 3-0 in the year. His ERA sub 3, which is great. I mean, if Randy Vásquez keep his ERA under 3, that would be awesome. He had a couple of coming back down to earth outings the last couple of times. Hopefully he bounces back in his next one. We'll talk about the Cubs and Padres game later on in the show. We will also have a couple of guests later on today. A Cubs fan and a Padres fan. And it's going to be a fun little interaction with some local comedians here in town to finish up the show today as well. We'll talk about that also as we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show, Static Summer Sports Station 97 through the Fan. All right. Again, this is why people have no idea what a fair or foul ball is. We have multiple people tweeting at us, Frank, about how the rules changed. I pulled the rule book out. I found it. They said the rules changed 7 years ago. Well, within 3 years ago, the rule says exactly how we said it. For what AJ Castle tweeted out, now maybe he saw a different version of the rule book. Maybe he's got access to the actual hard copy. But what was mentioned in the comments of what AJ Castle said on the rule that was changed for the context of this situation was that is referred to on a fair fly ball. A fair fly shall be judged according to the relative position of the ball and the foul line according to the foul pole and not as to whether the fielder is on fair or foul territory at the time he touches the ball. When in contact with the ground, a ball must be in contact with fair territory and not merely over fair territory in order to be adjudged to be fair. That is on a fly ball, Frank. That is not for a ball that rolls up the third baseline. And again, when a player makes contact with the ball, that is a different interpretation of the fair and foul. That is for like if a ball was hit down the left field line, right? And it bounces next to the line. If it bounces in foul territory in contact with the ground, it would be foul. But in this particular case, if the ball is rolling up the line and it is touched by a player or an umpire, and any portion of the ball is over the foul line, it is fair. That's what it says in the rules. So for the people that posted the little cutout at the bottom, post the entire rule, because at the top, it specifically says that particular situation. I'm glad we're making that clear. So again, for everybody in like my comments saying like, read this, they changed the rule. They did it for a foul ball that's in the air, not for one that rolls up the third baseline. I looked into all of that. So, again, go read the rules, read the whole thing, report back if you would like to. All right. You understand what I'm saying? The difference here?
I do.
Yeah. Just because you want it to be foul doesn't mean it's foul. Like, stop trying to, like, bend the rules to make it foul. That's the reality of the situation. It had no impact. It had an impact on maybe Mason Miller giving up a run. But here's the deal. Even if it is foul, Frank, what strike was that?
Strike two.
Strike two. It doesn't even matter. Even if the guy gets out, it doesn't really. The Padres won, and I guess they gave up a run. I don't think the Padres got jobbed on that play.
No, and again, you still won the game, which is the overarching theme of what you were doing there for 3 hours last night, was trying to win the game. I don't understand why you get so...
People are so upset about it because they think they're getting ripped off because we're the Padres and all that other stuff.
But
they got it right yesterday.
You won the game. That should supersede everything. It's like, yeah, that was a dumb moment, but you won the game.
What did Herm Edwards used to say?
You play to win the game.
Play to win.
And it doesn't help. It doesn't help all these people online seeing all these accounts. Oh, umpire makes awful call. No, if you look at the rule, it was the right call that he made.
Well, that was my reaction too when it first happened.
Oh, it was mine too.
I'm like, that's
it was
terrible.
Mine too.
And then
but
you read the rule book that they have, and that's what it is.
But you think any of those accounts would be like, oh, hey, by the way, we're going to amend this and apologize? No, they're going to leave it. They're just going to let people go crazy with it.
Correct. That won't be the first time somebody talks about that today. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Jamie in San Ysidro. Jamie, what's going on?
Hey, gentlemen, how we doing?
Doing well.
I was just calling about that call. So I didn't get to see the call. I'm just listening to you describe it. And you are right. If that ball is touched in fair territory, even if it's in the air, when that ball is in fair territory and it's touched, that is a fair ball.
Yeah, this was rolling on the ground up the third baseline, of course. But
okay, yeah. And if it's on touching the ground in foul territory, but not touching the actual foul line, and nobody touches it, that's a foul ball.
Right. If any portion of that baseball is over the foul line and the ball is completely touching in foul ground, which is possible because of the sphere of the ball, then it is a fair ball according to the rules. Hey, take it up with the Major League Baseball. They're the ones that make the rules for the sport. Because even if you like that video that we keep showing, that we showed a couple of times, Frank, even like looking at it with no context, if somebody told you, like, if you're like a fair or foul, I would say foul because it's touching foul territory. But that's what I thought the rule was. It's not.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought the same thing. And then it's like once I didn't even need to look at the rule book. My thought was exactly that. And I tweeted it like a couple minutes after they were done replaying it. I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's like the hockey rule where the whole entire ball has to be over the line. I got over it very quickly and didn't even need the rule book for it.
Right.
You still won the game. That's all it is. That's all that matters. It's the only thing that matters is you still won the game.
What was your takeaway from last night's game?
Nice to see grindy, picky at-bats and just being an annoying offense, getting hit after hit after hit, beat power last night. Because you had the Seiya Suzuki home run after the big first inning that doubled your run output in the first inning all season. You get the 3 runs in the first inning. Suzuki, it's the home run, and then it's Moises Ballesteros hitting the grand slam. And you did not have big power hits after that. It was just knock after knock after knock, find a gap. Ty France hits a triple to bring in a couple runs. And then you add on, and then you have the Sheets home run at the very end to add a little bit more insurance onto it. It was nice to see just an annoying offense getting hit after hit after hit, not relying on the power to beat power last night out of the Cubs.
I think the Padres have shown that they can keep answering, which is great.
Yes.
Now, Sunday's game, obviously, it was kind of late when the Diamondbacks took the lead. It's hard to overcome that. But in all of these games, like even the one against Colorado, like they find ways to get guys on base. They find ways to drive in runs. They find ways, to be able to rally back in games. And I saw a stat, it was mostly, unfortunately, poking fun at the Mets and the Red Sox for being awful at this. But in terms of like records for teams that trail after 3 innings, Padres are 6-6. They've trailed 12 times after 3 innings. They're 6-6. That's good for like top 5 in baseball because it's very difficult to do in Major League Baseball to come back. The Padres have done that time and time again. And it's great to see that the Padres battled with a team that they're going to have to deal with in the playoffs, or they're going to have to deal with late in the season to get into the playoffs.
That you dealt with in the playoffs last year. Right.
These are going to be fun. And how fun were the series last year against the Cubs?
They're great.
Every one of them, including the playoff one, right? So there are going to be battles between the Padres and the Cubs throughout the year, and it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight. We'll talk more about that in a second. I do want to talk more about the offense when we come back. We're done talking about the fair or foul. The ball is fair according to the rules. That's what we're going with. If you don't like the rule, take it up with Major League Baseball. But some other inner workings of last night's game that you might have missed. We'll get to it when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Standings Number Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Marshall makes a good point. He called us during the break. Why is it a foul line if it touches, it's fair? You know what? I think that's a valid argument. I really do. How much more we got to talk about the fair foul argument over something that doesn't even matter because the game was won? Probably a lot. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number sports station 97.3 The Fan. We broadcast live for the Bill House Studios. We know how. Our guests are brought to you by SDCCU. They join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. We'll have a couple of guests later on in studio. A couple of comedians in town, Josh Nelson and Louis Santani. A couple of guys that know each other pretty well, but also at the same time, a little bit of a different. We got a Cubs and Padres perspective on things. I can't wait to ask them what's a fair or foul ball. I'm sure that will go over well. So some lighthearted stuff to end the show today, later up in the 1 o'clock hour. We did get a phone call during the break about how would you rewrite the rule for fair or foul. To me, it would have to be touching. If anything's touching the fair line, foul line, whatever it is, then it has to be touching, Frank. That to me would be the only tweak I would make to the rule.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's hard.
It's fair.
See what you did there. Because it's, again, I know I keep going back to the hockey rule. The hockey puck is flat. So you could tell where it's over, and the flat part.
But if it like rolled across standing up, and it stopped, which would be insane, and then a little bit of the side of the puck was not completely across the line, then it wouldn't be a goal.
Right, exactly. So I understand where, because it looks, just by the look of it, the part of the ball that's on the ground is foul. So you just automatically snap to foul ball. There you go. So if I were making a rule, I would make a rule to where it's an easy, like, oh yeah, no duh kind of situation. So if the part of the ball that's on the ground is touching the line, it's fair. If it's not, it's foul.
Yeah, and then that way it'd be reviewable. I always thought, like, why isn't this play reviewable? And now I understand why. There's so many different like nuances to it. It's not cut and dry because it's baseball, and everything has to be a opinion, an interpretation. I gotta address that in the chat in a second. Okay. Let's get to Joe in Chula Vista. Joe, what's going on, man?
All right, first time caller here, been a long time listener.
I appreciate that. What do you got for us today?
I wanted to talk about the game last night.
This call will be recorded.
They brought in Mason Miller.
Why did they bring it? Well, it's funny. We were actually talking about during the break. Were you listening to us? Was he eavesdropping on our conversation? Do you have microphones in here?
Apparently so,
Joe,
for being recorded.
Let's talk about the Mason Miller situation for a second. Okay, what's the rule in baseball, Frank? That the unwritten rule you never do because it always blows up in your face.
You don't throw the closer if it's not a save situation.
You don't use a closer if it's not a save situation. Okay, fair enough. Last night when Mason Miller came into the game, what was the score?
It was 7. It was 9-5.
9-5. All right, so it's a 4-run lead. Okay, which is no longer a save situation. But
what was the score when he was warming up?
But yes, that's what I was going to get to next. The Padres added a run in the 8th inning. When he was warming up at the bottom of the 8th, what was the score?
It was 8-5.
Correct. Was it? No, you mean it was 8-5. Okay, it's 8-5. It's a 3-run lead. It's a save situation. And by the way, he had not really pitched a lot last week. Let's go through last week. Last Monday, the Padres were off. He didn't pitch. He pitched a lot the Sunday before, right? But he was going to be off in their next game. Monday, he was off. Okay? The entire team was off. Tuesday, he had a scheduled off day. That's why Morejon came in to save the game against Colorado. Wednesday, the Padres lost, so they didn't use him. Thursday, he came in and pitched against Colorado. So just last week, he pitches one time?
Yeah, 7 pitches too.
7 pitches on Thursday. Friday, the entire team was off. Saturday, he pitched 13 pitches. Sunday, he didn't pitch at all. So last week, what did he throw? Like 20 pitches total?
Yeah, 20 total.
He threw 20 total pitches in a week. So the fact that he was warming up last night in a save situation made sense. Obviously, it's a save situation. And then once the Padres got a 4-run lead, there's not like too much difference between a 4-run lead and a 3-run lead aside from like the stat for a save. But he had already started warming up. He needed the outing anyway. You might as well use him. Like, what are you
he
going to do?
was already hot.
Quickly sit him down and then get somebody else warming up? It's not like you're warming up anybody else. I mean, Sheets came up, hit a home run. That was it. That inning was pretty quick. So that's why Mason Miller ended up staying in the game, or that's why they ended up going to him anyway in a non-save situation. Look, I know he gave up 2 runs. I know it's a little bit different. I know, we watched Andres Munoz cough up the game for the Mariners the previous 2 weeks ago, being brought in a non-save situation. But you know what? Aside from maybe people thinking that streak was going to go on forever and you wanted the streak to go on as long as possible, I really don't have a problem with Mason Miller pitching last night. I don't have a problem with him giving up runs. It's going to happen. I'd rather have him, if he's going to give up runs, Frank, I'd rather have it be in a 9-4 situation or a 9-5 situation, whatever it is, than leading by 1 in the 9th inning. And you give up the run and you end up blowing a save. So,
and Sheets hit that home run with 2 outs too. So it's not like it was a leadoff home run and they didn't have time.
And they could get somebody warmed up very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So Miller was already hot. He was already ready to go. They already did the Reaper shot up the staircase, which was a very cool shot. So yeah, they didn't have time to warm anyone up, and Bogarts he only saw 2 pitches. He grounded out. He flew out on the second pitch he saw. So, yeah, no, there was no time to get anyone else warmed up.
Good phone call though. Because I think a lot of people, there's people bitching about that too. People like to bitch. I just people like to bitch. Frank likes to bitch. I like to bitch. It's fun to bitch. Sometimes you just got to bitch, and then people look at you like, "Are you done?" You're like, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm done bitching."
I could already tell, and I said it last night too. I texted him, Scravy's going to have a day and a half today.
He's getting killed. What happened yesterday? What did you allow him to say yesterday?
So, Scravy did a great job yesterday.
He does. He always does a great job filling in, but apparently he upset some people.
He did say, because we did our segment on Mason Miller setting the team record for scoreless innings at the beginning of the show.
Congrats.
And he had said, relax, everyone. There's going to be a day where he gives up a run. He didn't specify when that day would be, and apparently that day was yesterday.
I said that on Thursday.
Oh, exactly.
Did we not say that on Thursday? I said that on Thursday.
We did.
There's going to be a time where somebody sells out on his fastball, and he's going to square it up because guess what Major League players do? They're very good at hitting fastballs, and they time it up. The ball's gonna end up on the fence. It's only a matter of time. I'm just glad it hasn't happened yet on that deal.
That, and he also said, this is later on in the show.
What was Juan in the YouTube chat has accused Scraby of some very, very serious things, I would say.
He had said that he doesn't understand all of the hype around Lucas Giolito because he's not going to come in and be the ace of the staff. He's more or less there to eat innings, and he's confused as to why people are lauding this as a massive signing.
It's a massive signing because you're walking out like, I don't want this to sound disrespectful to Matt. You're rolling out Matt Waldron right now. You're rolling out like Walker Buehler and Manny Marquez. I know what he's saying, but that's why people are excited because they believe that Lucas Giolito is going to give them a better chance than the 3 guys at question right now. They think he's going to give them a better chance than a JP Sears in El Paso or anybody else that's waiting in the ranks. I don't think anybody is really looking at the Lucas Giolito signing as, man, did we just get Max Scherzer in his prime? I don't think anybody's really seeing that.
He says that he has seen it on Twitter.
Oh, I see a lot of crap on Twitter.
No, I agree. I understand that, but he's saying he agrees with you and laid out that point that you laid out. but he's confused by people who are making it seem like it's a lot bigger of a signing than it actually is.
It is a big signing. They need pitching depth, and they got a guy that's still pretty solid and he's younger. That's why people are excited. And they know that and it's a way for them to, get somebody out of the back of the rotation.
Much in the same way that I am apparently a Nick Pivetta hater.
You are a Pivetta hater.
Scraby is now a confirmed Lucas Giolito hater. Apparently after yesterday.
Not starting things off on the right foot. I can't wait for Lucas Giolito to be on Gwen and Chris. It's going to be great. It's going to be outstanding. Can't wait. Can't wait for that. There's a lot of other offensive notes that we wanted to get to. In the wow, you're getting called out in the chat.
I'm not though.
I don't know. I Lucas Giolito's it's a solid signing. I don't think anybody's really acting like the Padres just got prime Jake Peavy.
Lucas was a huge signing at 9:50 a.m.
He was a huge
signing at like 10:02.
10 a.m. It was exact. Go to look at the timestamp of the tweet. It says 10 a.m. on the dot. Scheduled tweet. Love it. Love it. Foul. All right, let's get. I want to say, how much more time does Nick Castellanos have on this team right now? He snapped an 0 for 19 skid with a go-ahead 2-run single. I like the way Craig Stammen gives his players an opportunity to succeed. They started him last night. Gave him an opportunity to get a knock. He got a knock yesterday. It was good. He finished 1 for 4. But, he's hitting 154, the 200 on base, a 212 slug. I know he's only got 55 plate appearances, but this is kind of the role that Nick Castellanos has now, and I know he's trying to adjust to that role. With the way that Ty France has been playing and the way that Miguel Andujar has been playing and Gavin Sheets, I feel like it's time for Nick to really start settling in and get after it a little bit here. And I know it's difficult. No, it's hard. It's a different role for him. This is a weird experience for him. But at some point, he's going to have to start producing. I was glad that Castellanos got a knock yesterday. I think he could help this team. I think he's gotten some bad luck at the very early part of the season. I just think he's trying to find a way to get into a groove without getting consistent at-bats, because that's the type of player he is right now on this team, is he's not a player that's going to get consistent at-bats.
Right, and I think his contract makes him more susceptible to being one of those first guys cut. And right now, he's really the last guy on the bench. I would even go as far to say that Bryce Johnson, because he's used to this role, is a little bit higher up on the bench pecking order than he is right now. So it was nice to see them, one, get Jake Cronenworth out for a day and find a way for him to be in a more familiar spot. He was out in right field. He was there all game until later on after Manny was taken out. But I think the one thing that's really hurting him the most is his contract. And you can eat $750,000. You can't really eat $5 million.
Yeah, this is where a situation where being a league minimum player definitely hurts you, because let's talk about, I was talking with one of my friends who is a Dodger fan, right? And he was saying Roki Sasaki is just, he's been awful. Mm-hmm. And Dodger fans want to move him to the bullpen, or they want to quit on him. It's even the Dodgers, they give him a ton of money. They have to make that work somehow. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with any type of player that's getting paid a lot. They made the investment. They got to give them the opportunity to succeed. But when you're not making a lot of money, it's we can move on from this.
It's just like Tetsuya Mine. Maybe he's having a culture issue. He's still trying to adjust.
Right. You got a guy like Jace Bowen down there that's doing well. We'll talk more about the offense when we come back. Little resurgence last night. Glad you guys are enjoying 49 Winchester. It was like a minute of the Everlasting Lover song that we got to play. Wow. They were not at Stagecoach. I was at Stagecoach this weekend. That was my first time ever at a festival. It's pretty mellow. The Stagecoach festivals, that is in my territory, okay? I can handle that. My friend, she likes to go to like EDM festivals sometimes. I told her straight up, I will never go to one of those. I will never go to one of those. EDC, no. I don't. No. Nope. Never gonna happen.
At least you left the door open for a possibility, you know?
I absolutely not. And you know what? She's like, well, I'm kind of getting like, yeah, I'm going to get a little too old for that. Yes, nice. I'll never go to that. You could go with your friends. You could spend as much. I will not be paying to go to that. I will not be going to that. Stagecoach, though, was super cool. Super chill vibe. I'd never been before. KSON has, they always talk about how great it is. I went for specifically a couple of like artists that I don't go to a lot of concerts. I am not a concert guy. I love music. I have a very eclectic music taste, but like concerts are never something that I'm thinking about spending money on ever. So got the hookup from KSON, so I wanted to go, and we went out there to Stagecoach. I thought Stagecoach was awesome. And Stagecoach is like, Frank, when like they do like concerts in the park, like in your local neighborhoods, and they're like bands that are like, garage bands and stuff like that. It's kind of got some like concert in the park vibe level of like, it's not super crazy. Like anybody under the age of 30 is getting wasted. That's kind of most events you go to, right? I mean, you go to Padres games, most of the time the people that are hammered are what, like 25, 27, maybe? Like, you get 28, you're like, man, I got work tomorrow. I can't be like getting wrecked with my waffle beanie right now. So it's more a little bit laid back vibe. I went for two artists. I got to see one of them. The other one got canceled. Did anybody see that the Wind at Stagecoach? Did you see my Instagram story?
No, I saw Sam post something about it right at the start of the show. The Winds was ridiculous.
The wind was crazy. So, day one was fun walking around. I have cowboy boots from my time in Texas. I haven't worn them in a long time. So, walking 8 miles in cowboy boots for 3 straight days, man, does that put a terror on your feet. But overall, it's a pretty cool experience. The problem is, like, Coachella's like the first 2 weeks. They showed a picture of like the first day of Coachella, and they showed a side-by-side with the first day of Stagecoach. All of that grass is gone, and it's all dirt and dead grass. A little bit different. But the winds were bad. I was there to see Treaty Oak Revival. That's who I wanted to see. And they were awesome because they played all their hits. They rocked out. They had a great time. That was my favorite. I wanted to see Riley Green, but so here's the deal with this is when chaos ensued at Stagecoach. So it was windy all day Saturday. Like, I mean, all day Saturday, I was getting hit. Like, I had sunglasses and like the bandana. Like, my buddies that didn't go were making fun of, what's with the bandana? I'm like, I'm not pretending to be a cowboy here. I can't breathe unless I have this over my face because of all the dust and stuff.
Yeah, this is not a
this
LARPing
is functional.
contest here.
And if now I know, I want to show up with a World War I gas mask. You see in cartoons, got a little hose, like look like an elephant. Windsocks are getting blown off of their poles at Stagecoach. But the wind was nasty all day. We stumbled across they had a speakeasy there. It was kind of cool. Stumbled across the speakeasy. We're hanging out there with some of our friends, Sushi Sam, some others. And then we decided that we wanted to go get to the main stage for Riley Green early because I really wanted to see Riley Green. Saturday was great. Checked out boxes, Treaty Oak Revival, check. I wanted to see Riley Green. So we went out, had to go to the bathroom, get another beer. I was wearing, and the sun was almost down. I still had my sunglasses on because I was getting hit in the face with grass and dirt. and I had the bandana. I'm trying to I'm buying a beer from like a vendor. So I get the Michelob Ultra, and the wind is howling at this point. We find an open spot to sit because, again, it's a chill vibe over there at Stagecoach. There's places for people to get rowdy. There's places for me, for people like me that don't want to get super rowdy. And so I post up, literally, as I crack the beer. All the screens at Stagecoach go red and go emergency. The event has been canceled. Please go to the nearest emergency exit. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. There's no way this is real. So it said canceled first. And I'm like, oh, sick. This is great.
So Braden ruined the show by opening a beer.
By opening up a Michelob Ultra. Lovely. Yeah, that's what it was. I think that's what the penalty was, apparently. So that flashes up. It disappears within 8 seconds. And I'm like, oh, maybe they wanted to test to see if it worked real quick, if this wind gets out of hand. So as that's happening, my friend, she checks the weather app, and the wind's going to die down. So they put up like the usual, oh, here's our upcoming shows coming to Southern California, all that other BS. And then it flashes back on to emergency exit, or the emergency thing, and it says it has been postponed. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to kind of hang out here for a little bit and see what's going on. And then they started making the announcements of yeah, you need to leave. It's time to go. And people start freaking out, of course.
The only thing I could think of right now is the scene from Beverly Hills Cop 2 at the Playboy Mansion, where right at the very end, it's like, all right, everyone, party's over. Braden messed it up for everybody. It's the only thing I can think of right now.
So we start making our way. Now, here's the problem with the whole go to your nearest emergency exit. They wouldn't let you exit out of any of the emergency exits, which strictly went to in my head. So this isn't that big of an emergency then. If I can't go to, literally all the emergency exits, Frank, you try to go out, can't go out this way. It literally told me to do that. What's the point of the emergency exit if you can't leave during what you are calling an emergency and the festival being postponed? So they funnel everybody out to the main exit, which was on the other side of the area. Luckily for me, I was like, I'm not throwing this beer. I'm going to finish the beer before we get out. I'm just walking, sipping, walking, sipping. Made it all the way off the grounds. That's when you run into the chaos of they have these Uber scammers out there. That's nuts. Where they have all these people offering rides for cash and stuff like that. And it was chaos. And that was a different conversation in its own right. But by the time we got picked up by the Uber, whatever we had, there's just so much extra stuff that I didn't want to waste my time talking about because it was crazy. But as we were driving, by the time we got our Uber, it was an hour after they made the announcement. We got in our Uber, we started driving back to where we were staying. And then they're like, hey, come on back in. It's good now. You guys can come back in. We've canceled Riley Green, but Lainey Wilson's going to get moved back. Pitbull's going to get moved back. And I'm just the only people that are going to be able to go to this thing are the people that are camping on site that get to just walk right back in. I was like, I'm not going back in there. But it's funny. They had the canceled sign, Frank, and then it quickly went to postponed because they're like, oh, if we say cancel, we're going to have to give the people their money back. Let's say postponed and then they made Riley Green do one song after Lainey Wilson. So everybody performs so nobody can have any complaints about refunds. Guy Fieri was there. That was fun. He was doing cooking stuff throughout the entire day. That was pretty cool. But overall, the food was solid. The prices weren't crazy. They're stadium prices. It was okay. But I got to see Ella Langley. I got to see Treaty Oak Revival. Little Big Town, Dan and Shay. We saw Hootie and the Blowfish were awesome. It wasn't just Darius Rucker. He actually was there with his band, Hootie. It was actually Hootie and the Blowfish. And the cool thing
how were the Blowfish? Because I know Hootie's fine, but the Blowfish is a little questionable. How was the Blowfish?
They played a bunch of covers too. It was awesome. It was fun. They just had a great time. They were great.
Reels, yeah.
Yeah, he was funny, or he was fun. I really liked that act. I thought Cody Johnson was a big disappointment to me. And here's my thing. Like, I know Cody Johnson's got a lot of slower songs. He's got a lot of upbeat songs too. He played only his like mellow stuff, and people were leaving because it was putting him to sleep. And he was like one of the headliners. Pitbull was great. Post Malone was great on Sunday, but it was a fun time. I'd go again. Hopefully the wind's not as bad. Most of the people leaving were like, yeah, this never happened to us at Stagecoach. My friend has been prepared since with her festivals. She had everything. She had like the bag packed with a bunch of stuff. Just stuff I didn't think I needed. Stuff I didn't even really think I needed. But everything was well prepared. Fun time. We camped we rented a fifth wheeler at an RV camp. They already had it there. That was fun. I still smell like RV. You know that RV smell, Frank? Oh God. She was like, "What does that smell?" I'm like, that's RV smell. That's what an RV smells like. But overall, it was a good time. I haven't gone camping in so long, and it was kind of like pseudo camping, but it was fun. It's a good time out in the desert. Got to followed the Padres a little bit throughout the entire weekend, but I had a great time.
Smelled like Cousin Eddie.
I dropped a Cousin Eddie reference. She seemed a little confused at the same. I'm like, well, that's where we got picked up. We got picked up by an Uber one time to go visit Sushi Sam because they were staying at a country club. Nice. RV park, country club, whatever. We get picked up by an Uber and she was like, it smells like sewage. I'm like, well, that's the drop off. You ever seen National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation? It's full. That's where it gets dumped off. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Dexter in Spring Valley wants to chime in. Dexter, what's going on, man?
Well, boy, howdy, y'all. It sounds like you had a good time over there.
Yeah, we did. We had a great time. My feet are sore from wearing boots for 3 days.
It's appropriate that the area was all like tore up and dirty and everything because it was Stagecoach, dude. So it's like you're back in the 1800s.
Yeah, it felt like that for sure.
When, all y'all needed was a horse and like a gun belt. You'd be good to go.
There were some people that had holsters, Dexter, for their beers. They had beer holsters. Hilarious.
Oh, you know what that meant, right? They're going to try to do a quick draw.
Oh man.
But I know foul.
We're giving them the foul later.
But really quick, that whole thing with you guys really did a great detailing everything and hitting all the nooks and crannies about the foul ball call last night and the rules and everything. I will bet you cash money if that had anything to do with the Doyers and Ohtani, you best believe the league office would be like, oh my God, we got to change this rule. We got to fix it. But because it didn't happen to them, they're just kind of like going, well, it is what it is. It's right there, clearly stated. So, like I said, if it would have been the Doyers, they would have changed that rule or they would have done something about it.
I think so a little bit too, Dexter. I appreciate that. Everybody in the chat's giving you a foul for the dad jokes. Just give it to him.
He draws the foul.
Hootie the Blowfish brought out Flava Flav too, by the way. That was hilarious. Here's Flava Flav. I'm like, excuse me? Flava Flav?
I heard what you said. I'm just having a hard time comprehending what you said.
You know who else was good? Was Big X the Plug was good. He was having a great time. He was funny. He was great. He taught everybody how to do his A. Hey. Come from the diaphragm, Frank. Hey. We need that drop next. We need the Big X the Plug A drop. All right, let's talk about the offense for a little bit before we move on to the next thing. Yeah, Stagecoach and Flava Flav not on the bingo card today. Anybody got that? You're in a prime position. There was a lot of Ella fellas too, by the way. I didn't realize that was a thing, Frank. Do you know there's something called an Ella fella?
No.
Do you know who Ella is? Ella Langley?
No.
She sings that song. She's from Texas.
Oh,
I can tell
that really.
You know that song?
I may have heard it on accident.
There's a bunch of dudes that love Ella Langley. And why wouldn't you? She's beautiful. She's a great singer, great country singer. And I saw more. I saw so many dudes wearing Ella Fella shirts. It was in all walks of life, all Ella Fellas. There was one guy who was drunkenly eating loaded tots.
Sounds about right.
And he's like, he's vibing, man, at Ella Langley. He's having a good time. He turns back to us in the group that we have.
That's where the problem starts.
And he's like, Ella Fella. He's like giving everybody half fives. And he's like, cheers, Ella Fella. And he cheerses Sam. Sam had just bought. Sam's allergic to beer, so he's got to have seltzer. He just bought a Bud Light seltzer. The drunk guy cheers him, knocks the seltzer out of his hand, hits the ground, exploded all over the place. And Sam's just sitting there just like, you could tell he wanted to rage, but the guy was just like happy drunk. He couldn't rage.
He draws the foul.
That's a tech. That's a flagrant 2 on exploding some stranger's freshly opened Bud Light seltzer, asking if he's an Ella Fella. Absolute foul. Technical 3-game suspension.
As a technical, though, there are a lot less entertaining technicals that you could get, though.
That's also true. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about specifically what we have seen out of a couple of Padres on the offensive side. We're going to talk about Gavin Sheets. We're going to look back again at Nick Castellanos and what his playing days are like right now for the Padres, what Fernando has done. Manny, 3 for 4 yesterday. Inside look at the offense when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. 11:23 on a Tuesday. Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Enough of the Stagecoach talk. Let's get back into Padres baseball. Key offensive notes from last night. Padres scored 9 runs on 14 hits. Everybody in the order got a knock last night, except for Freddie Fermin, but Freddie's doing a good job back there in terms of catching. Some key offensive notes as we look at last night's game from an offensive perspective. Again, the Padres won a chaotic back and forth 9-7 game against Chicago on Monday night, and they've improved now to 19-9 on the season. It was a high offensive affair in which 9 of the 10 Padres who batted recorded at least 1 hit, and the team overcame an early 5-3 deficit to take a lead for good in the 5th inning. The win came after a grueling week at altitude in Denver and Mexico City, with the team arriving home around 2 a.m. on Monday, according to the report from Kevin Acee. Now, some key offensive notes from last night. Ty France was everywhere. Bases loaded, ground rule double, 2 RBIs in the first. He had a stolen base, his 4th of his career, a rare triple in the 7th, first since 2022, ending a 452-game drought. I want to learn more about these triple droughts, Frank. How long are some of these triple droughts, you think? Not a lot of people hit triples in general. It snaps a 452-game drought for a triple. Who's got the longest triple drought right now? Maybe that's something to look into. And you know what? I know Fernando hasn't a home run in a long time, but has he hit any triples? In yesterday's postgame, Ty France said he called the steal last night his biggest highlight and accomplishment of last night's game. Machado back to swinging the bat well, 3 for 5, 2 doubles. He's starting to heat up. 9 for 22 in a 5-game hit streak. First multi-hit game of the season. However, he did leave the game in the 6th inning with a left leg issue after multiple awkward slides and noticeable discomfort. Craig Stammen called it precautionary that he was pulled from the game yesterday. We'll see if he's in the lineup today. Gavin Sheets had a solo shot, his 4th, tying a team lead as a bench bat. He's now 4 for 7 with a double off the bench this year. And Fernando Tatis Jr., who was battling the flu with fever and body aches, was 2 for 5 with 2 scorchers, 112 and 113 miles an hour in the exit velo. Made a spectacular twisting backhanded catch in shallow right field while playing second base. And he openly longs for infield time despite Gold Glove success in right field. Those are some of the notes from the daily newsletter from Kevin Acee. Let's talk about some of these these points for a second. Now, Ty France, Gavin Sheets, and Miguel Andujar are all playing exceptionally well off the Padres bench this year. They're doing exceptionally well when they spot start. And all of them this season are putting together some pretty good numbers. I mean, Ty France played his way onto this team. I think a lot of people are rooting for Ty France to be on this team in spring training. He has been even more valuable than I thought he could potentially be for this Padres team. Now, it's in 40 plate appearances, so let's not get carried away with any of this information because it's still a relatively small sample size. But right now, your bench bats, if you will, Miguel Andujar, in 68 plate appearances, is hitting .313 with a .353 on base, a .438 slug. He's got a .790 OPS. Gavin Sheets, he's had 88 plate appearances. He's hitting only .238, but he's got a .761 OPS, and he's got a team leading 4 home runs, tied with 3 others. Bogarts, Machado, and Laureano all have 4 home runs also. You look at a guy like Ty France, as mentioned before, in 40 plate appearances. Ty's hitting .297 with a .999 OPS. He's got a .172 OPS plus, which means he's 72 percentage points better than an average baseball player in Major League Baseball right now. He has a small sample size, but he's producing as of right now. Bryce Johnson's done fairly well in his limited plate appearances. He's hitting .250. He's had a couple of doubles. He's got a .669 OPS. I mean, he's mostly on the team, I think, for defense and versatility. in the outfield and maybe even able to pinch run. But the way a lot of these guys are playing poses some questions for two particular players. We're going to talk about one of them later on in the noon hour. But, Nick Castellanos has had 55 plate appearances. He's 8 for 52. He's driven in 7 runs. He has 3 walks. He has struck out 16 times in 55 plate appearances. But he's hitting 154 with a 200 on base percentage, a 212 slug, and a 412 OPS. OPS plus, again, is a statistic that's compared against everybody else in Major League Baseball. It is adjusted for players' ballpark and everything like that. It eliminates a lot of factors of luck, if you will. And what it does for anybody that needs to understand the general concept of what's good or not, it's based on a 100 scale where 100 is an average baseball player. So, kind of like WAR, if it's a positive WAR, that is how many wins above replacement you are. That's how much better you are than an average baseball player that can replace you. If it's negative, obviously you're worse than that. For OPS plus, it's the same thing. If you see OPS plus and it says 100, average player. You see anything over 100, above average player. You see anything below 100, obviously a below average player. Numbers that jump off the charts obviously are anything north of 120. You're like, wow, this guy's really good. Ty France has a 172 OPS plus. Luis Campusano has a 211 OPS plus. Guys like Xander Bogaerts right now, 118 OPS plus. Ramon Laureano's got a 113 OPS plus. Miguel Andujar, 119 OPS plus. Fernando's struggling. It's 78. Manny Machado's had been struggling. He at least still has a 107 OPS plus. That's basically just on offense. You look at Nick Castellanos. Frank, can you tell me, I don't know, just if you had to guess what Nick Castellanos' OPS plus was so far in 55 plate appearances, what would you guess?
Said anything under 100 is an average,
100 is an average player.
64.
Oh, brother. That would be a lot better than where he's at right now.
Oh, no.
Again, it's 55 plate appearances, so take all this information for what it's worth. It's less than that.
Higher or lower than 40?
Lower than 40.
No, Nick, no. 26.
Lower.
17.
Close.
15.
15.
Oh, boy.
Nick's OPS plus is 15. I get it. We talked about this to kind of finish up the last hour. I get it. He's adjusting to a new role. He's adjusting to a new organization. It's early in the season. But when you're a team that's right now near the top of the standings and you're battling with LA early and you're trying to keep the pressure on LA and you're right up there and trying to, get and rack up wins early in the season. You're a team that's competing for a playoff spot. You're a team that wants to put pressure on for the division. You're a team that win in the postseason. You need a lot more production out of Nick Castellanos than 154, the 212 slug, and a 412 OPS. A 412 OPS. I mean, that is the lowest on the team by far. There's only one player, or should I say, everybody has a higher OPS than Castellanos. There's only one other player, Frank, that has an OPS lower than 500. An OPS, for anybody that doesn't know, which I don't know why you wouldn't know at this point, on base plus slugging percentage is your OPS. A lot of people put that on the video board now to show the damage that people do and how it's better than singles, all that other stuff. There's only one other player on the Padres that has an OPS lower than 500. You want to tell me who that is?
Bryce Johnson?
No, he's got a 669 OPS.
Oh, gosh.
Got a couple of doubles. I mean, he's only had 18 plate appearances, so that's going to be high.
That's why I thought Fermin, maybe?
No.
Really?
Fermin's got a 527 OPS. There's only one other player that's got an OPS lower than 500 besides Nick Castellanos, who sits at 412.
It's not Jake, is it?
It's Jake Cronenworth. His OPS is 497. Look, people like argue to have Jake Cronenworth bat leadoff because he could like work walks and stuff. He's got 13 walks.
Yeah, he's not
his
even
on base percentage is 283.
Yeah, it's the same as Jackson Merrill's going into last night.
Correct. Jackson Merrill, he's got 280 on base percentage. He's got a 352 slug. He's OPS 632. That's way less. But when you look at some of these numbers, these are numbers that need to change if you want to play on a more consistent basis. And look, I like the way that Craig Stammen's involving everybody, but at this point in time, you have to get, and I understand it's like sometimes guys are doing better in certain roles that they have, like Andujar, like Ty France, like Luis Camposano, right? Like these guys are Gavin Sheets. These are guys that are benefiting from the limited playing time, I think, to an extent. But it comes to a point, Frank, where you're going to have to start making decisions and you have to start giving these guys more opportunities. And I think we're at that point. Now, we're going to talk about that a little bit more further in a second. But you have Andujar, you have Sheets, you have France, you have Castellanos. You have to put together a lineup where some of these guys are getting a lot more reps than others. And you also have the Jake Cronenworth factor. We'll discuss that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. 11:40 on a wonderful Tuesday here in America's finest city. Padres coming off of a win last night. The big win to start the series against the Cubs. Got to be able to take 2 out of 3 against the Cubs at home. That needs to be the goal. We're going to talk more MLB overall in the noon hour. We're going to dive more into Jake Cronenworth and his swing and if he have improved or not improved in terms of his inner workings of his swing, which will be different than the results. We're a lot on the process here, and we look at analytics to see if he's putting in the work, or at least showing the display of applying what he might be working on, despite maybe not getting the results. He's not getting the results right now. And we talked about it going to break, but you got guys like Ty France playing extremely well in 40 plate appearances, small sample size. He might be benefiting from the fact that he has been a bench piece. Like there was something to be said about that. It's early. It's probably too early to tell, but he has been playing really well. Luis Camposano, in 43 plate appearances, has been performing very well at the plate. He's been doing well defensively, too. Miguel Andujar, in 68 plate appearances, his stats are great. Gavin Sheets, who has split some time, in 88 plate appearances. Now, he's played more than everybody else that we've mentioned. He had another home run last night. He's got 4 home runs, tied for a team high, despite hitting 238 on the season. But another guy that has been using the bench role, another guy that's been splitting time. All of those players are doing a tremendous job of helping this team, and all of them are starting to knock on the door of getting more playing time. I think this is a very sticky situation a lot of times because some situations show that a lot of these players that have success coming off the bench have it coming off the bench because they're coming off the bench, not because they're good enough to be an everyday starter. So I think that's a risk you have to take when you want to give these guys more playing time. Now, that being said, the way that Jake Cronenworth is playing and the way that Nick Castellanos is playing, you have to start asking questions. And we're sure to ask questions. But I know we didn't start last night because it was a lefty, and you're going to see a lot more of Fernando playing second base. But are we at the position now where you need to play Ty France more or Miguel Andujar or anybody that the Padres might have on the bench more so than Jake Cronenworth? And on top of that, you get to the conversation about Nick Castellanos. We kind of briefly talked about it in the last segment. We talked about it in the first hour. Nick Castellanos has to play better, but at what point in time are you done with the Nick Castellanos experiment? To bring up Sung-Moon Song, who got pulled up over the weekend to pinch run as part of the 27th man for the international game that they played in Mexico City. So you're paying Sung-Moon Song a decent amount of money. At what point are you bringing him up to replace Nick Castellanos? And at what point are you having the conversation of, we need more Ty France, Miguel Andujar in the lineup than Jake Cronenworth? And I think you could start asking the question of, like, how much more now playing time are you going to give Luis Camposano? It's been almost even, maybe favoring Freddie Fermin a little bit. When does it start favoring Luis Camposano, a guy that you draft? Like, this is a guy you drafted, right? This is a guy that was top of your farm for a long time because you believed that you could be a pretty good catcher. I mean, Freddie Fermin has been a guy that's been like a really good backup catcher. Maybe Freddie Fermin is just a backup catcher. It's early in the season. I don't think we're at this time yet, but I think these conversations are starting to show up. I really do. How long do you give Nick Castellanos? How long do you give Jake Cronenworth? And here's the other question with Jake Cronenworth. Like, he's under contract for a decent amount of time. How do you get him right? Well, he's got to play. He's got to be able to play to be able to work on that. You're not going to send him down to the minor league. You can't send him down to the minor leagues. How is Jake Cronenworth going to figure it out if he's not playing. And by the way, for anybody that wants to move Ty France to second base, haven't they announced that they don't want him playing second base at all? Frank, didn't they say that? That's why Fernando's playing second.
I'm not sure, honestly.
I'm pretty sure they said they don't view him as a second baseman at all. So maybe he plays a little bit more at first, but then where do you put Gavin Sheets, right? I mean, I guess you could put Gavin Sheets in the outfield. You're going to put him in right field instead of Fernando? At least that you would get one of those guys in, and then maybe you have Andujar DH. But Andujar in the outfield, have Gavin Sheets DH. I just feel like we're getting to a point now where a lot of fans are going to want Ty France to play a little bit more. I think you should wait. You got to wait a little bit longer because you got to let this guy play more games. But Frank, I think we're at the point now where you got to start asking the question of, is it time to start utilizing these bench pieces more and more in starts?
Yeah, I think it is. It's certainly.
I think the question arising is time. I don't know if it's the doing yet.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it's time. No one is killing you on that bench right now. There's not a black hole on that bench. So I don't think it's time that you have to make a decision, especially when, it's not as prevalent as the pitching staff moving around is right now. You've already, Sungwoo Song has already gone through his rehab assignment, and he's already been sent to AAA. So it's not imperative that he come up. You don't really have anyone else.
You don't have the situation like you have with the pitching staff
exactly.
going on for the position players.
Correct, yeah.
But again, it's interesting that you want to get Castellanos. You have to give Castellanos an opportunity to get settled in, which you can't do if he's not playing. But you also, with the way that he's playing, can't play him every day because he's got to kill you in the lineup. Unless you just stick there hey, he's got to play for the next 5 straight days. And if we can't get anything going out of him, we got to make a decision. But in order for him to get right, he's got to play more. In order for Jake Cronenworth to be able to figure out, he has to play more. So it's an interesting topic of conversation. I think you have options right now with the bench potentially being starters, but I don't think it's the time to make those decisions yet. As bad as Jake Cronenworth has played, you've invested a lot of money in him to be on this team and be part of this organization. And unless they write a check for him to go away, I don't think there's really needs to be a pushing the issue to have Ty France start more games. Because then if Ty France plays, and they've already said that they don't see him as a second baseman, then you have to have Fernando play second. And if Ty France is playing, that means he has to play first because he ain't going to play third unless you give Manny the day off. Or I guess he could DH, but then that kind of, throws off the DH game. So you have Ty France play first, where he's a Gold Glove first baseman from a year ago. You could have Gavin Sheets play in the outfield, and you can have Miguel Andujar DH. It's not your best defensive lineup, might be your best offensive lineup right now, but there might be something to be said about them making the most of their opportunities off the bench and being bench type players. That's been the case for a lot of players in the past. We'll talk about the catching situation later on. I think that's interesting too. Because they're kind of, I would say they're basically splitting starts, maybe favoring Freddie Fermin. But are we getting to a point where Luis Camposano starts getting more starts than Freddie Fermin?
I think so, honestly. I think it's already gotten there.
I think Freddie Fermin is I like Freddie Fermin. I think he battles at the plate. I think he puts together good at-bats. He's not getting the results at the plate. I think he does a good job catching. But it's not like Luis Camposano is not doing a good job catching. And that's kind of been the big problem for him in the past. He's hitting and he's doing a good job catching. And as long as the pitchers are comfortable throwing to him, I think you got to see him in the lineup a little bit more right now. And I'm not saying you got to change anything different because the team's been playing well. But there are some little moves in there to maybe enhance or maybe make you guys even better that you can go to. It's time for us to go to today's sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Frank, what we got going on in the sports world today, or maybe over the weekend that I missed?
Yeah, we'll start off with the story
Number 1
that we talked about yesterday. We'll get your take on it. Texas Tech quarterback Braden Surprenant, one of the most high-profile transfers in the sport, has entered a residential treatment program for gambling addiction after he was discovered he had placed thousands of online bets, including wagers on Indiana Hoosiers football, while he was still on their roster. The NCAA is now investigating, and under its strict gambling rules, betting on your own school can result in permanent loss of eligibility, putting Sorsby's future and Texas Tech's 2026 outlook in serious doubt. While there is no indication of game manipulation or legal trouble, the situation is being treated primarily as a mental health issue, with the program and coaching staff publicly backing the decision to seek help. With strict NCAA gambling rules on one side and players' well-being on the other, should there be more flexibility in how these cases are handled, or does this need to be a zero-tolerance policy to protect against the integrity of the game?
I mean, to me, this situation is wild because, like, what is this punishment? He's got to go to like rehab or something like that. Is that what they said?
And we were talking about it with Scraby. It was kind of a toss-up between us as to wondering whether or not he's going to genuinely get help for a gambling addiction or if he's going to check a box.
Well, I find it interesting, like, when this happens to anybody else in like college athletics, they get like they can't work in college athletics anymore. But since the guy's a good quarterback, we're just gonna like, oh, he's just gonna go to rehab. I mean, like, to me, everything's the same. We're either about gambling or we're not about gambling. We either punish this or we don't. The one that has the direct impact on games is the guy actually playing the game.
He wasn't playing. It was during his red shirt season.
It doesn't matter. He's an athlete.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying, like it said, there's no evidence that he directly impacted games.
I understand that. He's a player, though.
Right. No, I agree.
My argument is they fire sports and information directors and the ticket ops guy for gambling on professional sports. And then they get blacklisted and never allowed to work in college sports again. But for the player that is physically playing games, that hasn't done it yet, but has the access to do it, like, just go to, you'll be fine. Come on. Like, just come on.
It starts at a young age. If you're good at sports, I saw it in high school. If you're good at sports, you get away with murder, period. If you're not good, well, you suffer the same as everyone else. It's ridiculous.
But the reality is, it's like the NCAA either be strict on this for everybody or don't be strict at all. Let them gamble on all the other sports. As long as they're not gambling on college sports, then sure. But like, don't give me the whole rundown about how, we care about the integrity of the game when you clearly don't.
No.
Not as you're making all this money on gambling and these contracts with gambling either. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope.
No, it certainly is. Don't really have time for another one here. So we'll save those for tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good. Got to it a little bit late. Interesting topic, though. Brad and Escondido, we're going to get to you when we come back. We're going to talk about Jake Cronenworth when we come back. We're also going to take a dive into some early trends in Major League Baseball. Interesting as we break away from Padres and talk more full MLB in the noon hour. Lots to come, and lots to get to still on the Braden Surprenant Show. Stagecoach Summer Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan.
No one knows America's finest city like he
You
does.
can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
New lunchtime hour on the Fans, brought to you by the Craft Taco, both flavors, 2 locations, Sorrento Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's Urban Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan. We're going to talk about Jake Cronenworth in this hour. We are going to talk about Major League Baseball a little bit too. Also, the craziness. What day is it? It's April, 28th?
Yeah.
We have already seen 2 managers get fired.
Should be 3, but,
Yeah. The guy that actually probably should have been fired still has his job. The other 2, Rob Thompson should have been fired like 2 years ago. Phillies are a train wreck. The Red Sox are a train wreck. The New York Mets, who haven't fired their coach, are 2 train wrecks into 1. What's worse than a train wreck?
subway wreck.
Losing your wife to a triceratops? Add that to the list of train wrecks for the New York Metropolitans. He won the push-up contest, though. Good for Mr. Met.
He did win the push-up contest.
I think Dinger.
Well, clearly, if there's one thing that we did, if there's one thing that we did learn from that, we learned that Dinger goes on the road.
Okay, it's possible.
So when Dinger comes here, we can ask him if he threw. We can ask him that.
All right. Okay. We're going to talk about the dumpster fires that are the Phillies, the Red Sox, and we'll let Frank talk about his Mets. Have the Mets improved at all?
Just got swept by the Rockies.
They got swept? Yes. I thought they won one of those games. They didn't win any of those games?
No.
Oh, my God.
They took 2 out of 3 from Minnesota and then went back to doing Met things.
Oh, boy.
The fact that Carlos Mendoza still has a job boggles my mind. As Mike Francesa said on his podcast last night, he said, he said to the owner, man up, do what needs to be done, number 1. And number 2, he said, if the Mets do not change very soon, Yankee Stadium is going to be filled in August. Meanwhile, Citi Field will be used for archery practice.
Frank already supports the Padres, obviously, as his second team.
Of course.
Frank's about to be the Simpsons meme where Homer's like wearing his Met stuff and then he goes into the bush.
My mom already.
And he comes out in Padre stuff.
Yeah, my mom already dinged her leg up pretty good jumping onto the Padre bandwagon.
That's phenomenal. We'll talk about that in a second. All right, let's get to this Jake Cronenworth conversation. All right, so right now, like, he is in a battle with himself on trying to get his swing metrics down because he wants to be a guy that hits the ball in the outfield and hits the ball in the fence, which I just don't think he's that player. According to his bat speed metrics, he does have power still. It's not like it's a lack of ability, but we look at the metrics from Jake Cronenworth, and we have the season to April 20th, and then this last week. The April 20th is like the situation of, in reality, the last time that we talked about Jake's swing. So As of right now, we'll talk about the trend. So we talked about his bat speed. His off speed and breaking ball bat speed, so like his swing against off speed pitches and breaking ball pitches, is actually the highest it's ever been this month. So that's good. That's going in the right direction. He had a mixed slight regression on his fastballs. In terms of his attack angle, again, the attack angle that's in the prime spot, since we learned something new every day, Frank. Remember, it's 5 degrees to 23 degrees on the bat angle. His fastballs are mostly 0 to 5 degrees, which means it's below. And on breaking pitches and off-speed pitches, it's over that. So in the last week of data, his swing against fastballs is actually regressed. It's down -5 to 3 degrees. On breaking pitches, still very high. He's averaging 25 to 32 degrees on his swing against breaking balls, which means he's doing the uppercut. And off speed has been very volatile. 14 to 28 inches different. He's trying to find his swing, but he has not made any clear improvements in that regard. Ideal attack angle percentage. Now, this is like the percentage of swings he takes between that 5 degree to 20 degree threshold. It's staying the same. He's had a couple of days where he has had 100% in games, but most of the time it's like 33% of the time he is swinging the bat successfully. Swinging the bat at the ideal attack angle. He's worsening his consistency with his swing length, extra length on non-fastballs, so his swing is getting longer through the zone on the breaking pitches. His swing path tilt is steeper, but it's now messier. In terms of like where the intercept Y and intercept X that we've talked about before, staying the same. Not really any progress on the intercept Y, which is the vertical portion of the game. In terms of the horizontal attack, he's actually worsening in that regard. And for attack direction, he is regressing, more pull side extreme on breaking balls. We talked about Jake's metrics, Frank, a couple of weeks ago, so we didn't want to get into the details of everything when it came to his attack angle and all that other stuff. But with this data, what we could pull from it for the last week, because we're going to see if he's making any progress. Frank, he's not making any progress. He's, in fact, getting worse at all of these particular metrics in terms of comparison of what the ideal numbers are for these metrics where it comes to his swing shape. And what spurred us to this conversation was Kristen Script Ranch calling in saying he's swinging on this uppercut swing and it's never going to work. So we looked into it, and that's basically what his problem has been. And it's not getting better. It's getting worse. The only thing that's gotten better is his bat speed, which is great. But if you continue to just have this uppercut swing, you're going to see the rollover ground ball he had with Sungwoo Song at third base on Sunday to try to potentially bring in the tying run. What did he do? He had an uppercut swing, and he rolled over to the right side of the infield. He's not improving right now. And last week shows the continued high volatility with no stabilization, still swinging harder and longer on breaking balls and off speed, but fastball metrics have stalled or slightly regressed. Lower bat speed, flatter attack angle, lower swing length, worse contact point. The swing remains in transition mode. The data does tell us, Frank, that he is adjusting. He's trying to change things, but sometimes you're trying to change too much. You know what you are? You're Xander Bogaerts last year. How many times is Xander Bogaerts trying to just tweak his swing mid at bat? Did that work for Xander at all? No, it did not. So the good news from this is the bat speed on secondary pitches have hit new highs late in the week. Power tools are still trending up. He has the physical ability. But the concern is the fastball performance is not getting better. It's getting worse. The majority of pitches that he sees, by the way. And he has not improved, and he may have ticked backward in the last 7 to 8 days on the fastball. And the ideal attack angle percentage and consistency metrics are as spiky as ever. And the spiky data means he's trying to do a lot more than he really can. And he's trying to tinker too much. And he's not, I'm just telling you, I just feel like he seems like he's in a position of being two different players. He's trying to be, he's in the position of, going away from the player that he's supposed to be and going to a player that he cannot be.
Yeah,
That's what it seems like to me when you look at this data.
He's not a power hitter. He never has been. And I don't understand where this mentality shift for him has come from. He was at his best getting the most production when he was a line drive hitter who would hit home runs by accident, which is fine. Not everyone's going to be a 20, 30 home run hitter every single season. That just doesn't happen. You have to know your lane. And right now, Jake is trying to squeeze his way into a lane, and he's just not fitting. He's just not. And it's really sad and unfortunate to see, because he is a decent player when he's right. But right now, it's just he's not helping. He's a detriment, unfortunately, to the team. And until he can get that swing right, it's hard to justify putting him in the lineup every single day.
It is, but at the same time, like,
he's got to play to fix it.
The data you're seeing in the spikes, I mean, he's trying to fix it. And the reality is, with the lack of clear improvement in the last week, it means you have to have continued patience rather than expecting an immediate explosion. Like, he's not tonight, if he starts tonight, he's not tonight going to get like 4 hits.
No.
He might get a knock and it might look better. And then tomorrow, like, if he's made the improvements, like, maybe tomorrow he gets, another single. I mean, it's going to be a slow development back as he tries to find his swing. And Padres fans, I know, do not have patience. And they do not have patience for this, especially since the beginning part of the season.
If I'm Steven Souza Jr., I'm saying, forget everything anyone's told you. Just swing the bat the way it feels most natural. Don't try to do anything special. Just swing a natural plane and go from there. Just do a hard reset. Just swing what feels the most natural. Don't try to do anything. Don't try to think about dipping the elbow. Don't try to think about doing anything else. Just go out there and swing what feels the most natural, and then work from there.
That always seems to be the case for a lot of people. It's just go hit the ball. Like, as simple as that sounds, sometimes that is what you need to do to not think about what you're supposed to be doing in the at bat. I mean,
like Campy.
Yeah. The only thing that's good for him right now for Jake is his chase percentage is good. He's in the 76th percentile on chase percentage. He's in the 79th percentile on walk percentage, but everything is super low. And again, I think it's the swing. And I just keep going back to what he said in spring training about, like, the player he wanted to be again. It's like, I think he got fool's gold in 2020 in a small sample size, the amount of home runs he hit.
We didn't even look at 2020 yesterday, because Scraby and I both looked at this. We looked at 21 and 22 and compared that to the fall off that he's had over the last couple of years. And while, yes, he still had a decent amount of home runs, he was hitting 70, 80 RBIs in those 2 years, and he has not gotten back to that sense ever since he really started to go for power, which he doesn't need to do. There are enough power guys on this team not doing power, not hitting for power. We don't need a not power hitter guy going out trying to hit for power and not doing it too.
I mean, you start looking at his just overall page on Baseball Savant. It's a lot of blue on there, which means bad. His expected weighted on base average is 310. That's not bad for considering what his current batting average is, but his expected batting average is not much higher than what his actual batting average is. You can't even look at the expected numbers right now. He's in the 25th percentile in expected batting average. He's in the 41st percentile in expected weighted on base average. His expected slug, he's in the 19th percentile. The exit velocity is not great. I mean, the swing speed's fine, but he's not hitting the ball with any authority because he keeps getting on top of the ball because he has his uppercut swing. Hard hit percentage, low. Barrel percentage, low. Launch angle sweet spot, low. Bat speed, kind of neutral, which that's like the aging perspective. So, again, like we talked about with Xander Bogaerts last year was a lot more mechanical and bad luck and not physical ability falling off. I think the same thing can be true about Jake Cronenworth. I think it's a lot of the metrics. I think it's a lot of how his swing. I think it's the mental approach in the box. It's not physical ability. He's still swinging the bat hard. It's not physical ability, but I think it's the inner battle for him and trying to be a player that I don't want to say he can't be. I'm going to say a player he doesn't have to be. True. He doesn't have to be that player.
Oh, exactly. And like you said, he's not regressing because of age and natural regression. He is regressing because of mechanics.
Correct.
That is his biggest problem is mechanics. He's not old. He's just quote unquote broken a little bit.
And I know you don't want to hear the Padres fans don't want to be patient. I get that. Padres fans do not want to be patient. We've waited a long time to be good at baseball.
You're done being patient.
Yeah, they don't want to be patient. The reality is you haven't paid for the X amount of years. He's going to get a little bit more patience from the organization than probably anybody else on this team. So I saw we're talking about Nick Castellanos. Nick Castellanos is making league minimum. That's the first move you would make with this offense. Jake is going to get more time. So here's the message I say about Jake Cronenworth. He's not playing well at all. His swing, which we on this show have been talking about for weeks now, it's not getting better. There's a couple of days, but it's very volatile, which means he's working on it. And since he regressed a little bit last week, I'm telling you, it's not going to happen like that. It's going to take some time for him to figure it out. And the only way he can do that, Padres fans, is by playing. So you're going to see this guy play more. They've invested in him to play. And unless they want to just write a check for him to go away, which I don't necessarily think they want to do, I don't think any team really wants to do that. As much as people say the Dodgers have kind of money like that, they don't. If they had money like that, they would have quit on Roki Sasaki already and moved on. Nobody likes just eating money to eat money. Not even teams that can do it. So regardless of a new ownership, regardless of how much money they have, regardless of how much money they can spend, writing a check for somebody to do nothing for you is not something that is, in the long term, a very wise idea. You want to play Ty France more? Maybe in the next couple of weeks or so, but Jake Cronenworth needs to play. And he's got to figure it out by playing. Unless he gets hurt and he does a rehab assignment. But you can't send him down, and you can't, there's a lot of stuff that you can't do that I think a lot of people think you could do. He has to play his way out of it. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Brad and Escondido, Robert and Vista, Stephen Poway, stay there. When we come back, we're getting your phone calls as we discuss the offense a little bit and took a deep dive on Jake Cronenworth's swing. We'll get more to that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Standing goes number one sports station 97 through the Fan. Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios, we know how. We will have a couple of guests in the final hour, a couple of comedians in San Diego. One's a Cubs fan, one's a Padres fan. We'll see what kind of memory lane S-talk we can get with some of the Cub Buster series stuff. Whether or not they know what a fair foul ball is as well. Apparently nobody knows. Not even the rules themselves. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to talk about maybe some of the train wreck that is some of these teams in Major League Baseball today. We might have to dive into that tomorrow. Spent a lot of time on the breakdown of Jake Cronenworth's swing. Do want to get your phone calls, though. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Brad Escondido. He's been waiting on hold for a while. Brad, what's going on, man?
Boys, how we doing?
I'm doing well. You know what? Despite everything we've talked about, Brad, the Padres won yesterday. Padres have the second best record in the National League. It's got to be feeling good right now.
I love it. And the fact that only Camposano's hitting higher than Arise is a wonderful thing.
Where are the Giants at right now in the standings, though? Come on, Brad. Come on, man. You're killing me.
Regarding Cronenworth, what I see when he was hitting hot last year, he kept more upright in his stance. When he swings and drops to a knee, I go, ugh. It reminds me of Phil Plantier. It just, all you're swinging is up. He seems to be more shorten his stroke stance, stay upright. He hits the ball line drive. He hits 15 home runs, 80 RBIs. That's great. But he has got a bad case of salary-itis. He's trying to justify the contract.
Yeah, which he's been trying to do that for the last couple of years, it seems like. And the reality is, Frank, I don't like talking about the contract side of things either. I guess there's that human element to it a little bit, but he's not getting another contract. Like, he's set. Like, when he's a free agent, he'll be like, what, 36 years old? 36, 37 years old? I mean, if he's lucky, he'll get another one. But on his next one, it's not going to get it's not a big deal. He's not playing for a contract. He's got it already. Go out there and play. It should be like, at this point, with what he has done for the organization, the big hit against the Dodgers in the playoffs in 2022, I don't think he needs to try to justify his contract. And by the way, Jake Cronenworth being a gap-to-gap hitter, a doubles hitter, like all that stuff, being a guy that doesn't hit the ball over the fence, that's kind of what players like him get paid nowadays. Like, the players that hit like that get paid around what Jake's getting paid now. I don't think it's the money that sometimes, maybe you put more pressure on yourself than you need to. I don't think he needs to be a power guy unless the Padres are telling him he does. I don't think he needs to be that guy. He needs to be Jake Cronenworth. That's what he needs to be. Jake needs to be Jake Cronenworth, and Jake Cronenworth's not a power hitter. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Derek in La Mesa. Derek, what's going on?
What's going on, brothers? Hey, good to have you back. Another glorious day in San Diego. Quick Crony take, and then I got a trivia question for Frank. Brother, I'm so frustrated. I called you a couple of weeks ago. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, he's really trying to be a guy that he's not. Crony is a gap-to-gap guy. Love the guy, but, brother, he's got to get going. I mean, do something. Do something to help this team. I think we're going to see a lot more of Taddy at second, man. I don't know what else we can do. The guy's just not swinging the stick right now.
Yeah, well, not only that, too. I think it's starting to affect. It looks like it's starting to affect his fielding.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, enough on that. I think we're beating it to death. Frank, I need you to put your thinking cap on for this one, brother, because this is going to require some thought. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, brother. What very famous numbers are sandwiched between 9 and 12?
Gee, would it happen to be 10 and 11?
It is 10 and 11.
Mm-hmm.
And coincidentally, since we talked last, Frank,
the same
Carson
number.
Fudge hit number 10 and 11. Coincidences are amazing.
You want a better, Derek? Do you want a better one, Derek?
Oh no,
I do. Go ahead.
Wins number 10 and 11, something the Mets still have not achieved this season. That's another one you can go with.
Wow, that's awesome. I love this routine.
Right.
This is great.
Yeah, Frank, you're dogging yourself, bro. I didn't come to smash on the Mets. They do enough of that themselves. But
I know.
Hey, you guys have a great day. And Frank, I'm sure we're going to be talking here in the next couple of days.
Wonderful.
Have a good day, man.
Can't wait.
I'm going to add on. Derek said, like, the Mets usually smash. They do that themselves. They don't smash. Well, they don't smash baseballs. I can tell you that.
No, they don't. They do not.
Other teams smash baseballs at Citi Field,
especially against the Rockies. They do not do that.
Just not the Mets. Meet the Mets. Meet the Mets.
There's alternate lyrics that are going around right now.
No, I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are. Let's get out to Kevin in Chula Vista. Kevin, what's going on? How's your Tuesday going, man?
Pretty good there, guys. Beautiful day out in San Diego. Can't complain, can we? So, getting back to Jake, maybe you ought to try golf. I mean, he's got a great golf swing. But no, seriously though, one thing that I'm not sure we're paying enough attention to is that these players, especially Jake, they have been through God knows how many hitting coaches with the Padres. I don't know if that has any effect on it one way or another, but it's certainly something that maybe ought to be considered, because for whatever reason, messages either aren't being said appropriately or getting through. I don't know what it is, but certainly when you continue to have a constant turnover in hitting coaches, hitting philosophies with struggling players, and you've had a lot of Padres, not just Jake, that are suffering. And I'm starting to wonder whether this constant rotation of hitting coaches with all their various suggestions that they have at some point are catching up with these guys. Just a thought.
Interesting thought, Kevin. I don't, I if they were like college players, maybe they're like high school kids, maybe. I mean, they're professionals. They have their own swing coaches themselves as is. And the thing is, I think the hitting coach conversation usually finds to be a scapegoat kind of deal. I think their offensive approach has been a lot better this year as a team. I like the way that they grind out at bats, and sometimes the results aren't there, but I don't think it's a hitting problem, to say the least. Let's get out to Robert in Vista. Robert, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on?
Hey, man, I just want to know any decision made on Buehler or Márquez with their fifth start coming up?
That's an interesting conversation. I mean, that time is starting to tick, right? With Canning potentially coming back, plus you got Lucas Giolito as well. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting conversation that we haven't gotten to yet, that we're going to talk about in just a little bit. We're going to get to that later on in the show if we can. If not, maybe we wait till tomorrow after Buehler goes today, possibly. A little recency bias if he shoves or something. But they both got 5 starts in them. And they've been kind of similar. I think Germán Márquez might have the edge right now. I think it's tough sledding for Matt Waldron at this point in time. I think, I think it's tough sledding for him.
Projected to get his last crack tomorrow.
Right.
Projected. He's pitching tomorrow, but the last crack thing is the projected.
Let's get out to Brandon in Claremont. Brandon, what's going on? Brandon, are you there?
Yeah.
What do you got for us today?
Hey guys, I'm not sure if you touched on it today, but I was wondering if you noticed that Tatis, he's had that back and forth with switching that front leg. I've noticed this year he's kind of kept that front leg planted, which is spraying the ball around for singles and doubles. But maybe the source kind of with that lack of power, and he's just trying to settle in with because last year he kind of started with the lifting the leg, then put his foot down, then towards the end of the season he was lifting it again. I've noticed this year he's been pretty consistent with holding that foot down to the ground and kind of driving the ball.
Yeah, I've seen the this in the years where he has put the ball over the fence tremendously, has had big pot. He's had the leg kick. He does not have the leg kick this year, which is interesting. So, it's almost like he's sacrificing the power to be able to hit for a higher average and be able to hit the ball maybe even harder and hit line drives and everything like that. My opinion on Fernando is, as long as he continues to lead Major League Baseball in hard hit percentage and he is roping the baseball, the home runs are going to come eventually. It's not going to be like he's not going up there trying to hit the ball over the fence every time. I don't mind that, because when Fernando misses with this swing, it'll either be like a fly ball that might go over the fence, or if he misses, it'll be a hard ground ball. You got opportunities to get on base with those. Where if you have a little bit more of a launch angle, yeah, you're going to hit more home runs. But if you miss, it's going to get popped straight up in the air. So I know a lot of people want to see him like light up the scoreboard for home runs. For me, as long as he is still producing at the plate and he's driving in runs, he's hitting the ball hard, I think the home runs are going to come. I don't think you can evaluate. Like, are you going to evaluate Fernando Tatis Jr. whether or not he's worth being on this team or worth his contract just strictly on the home run column? It's got to be a combination of a lot of things. The home runs are going to come. It's taken a while, but based on his swing, it's been a little bit different. We got to take a break. We'll get to Juan and Oceanside when we come back. We'll try to talk about Germán Márquez and Walker Buehler a little bit to get to the pitching side of things. We got so much to discuss here in the next couple of segments. Plus, Josh Nelson and Luis Santana, a couple of comedians in town, will join us in the final hour on the show as well. Braden Surprenant Show continues on a Tuesday. San Diego Sports Station 97 through the Fan. $12:41, the noon lunchtime hour, brought to you by the Craft Taco. Both flavors, 2 locations, Sorrento Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum.
I'm waiting for the tacos. Where are the damn tacos at?
Waiting for the tacos. You should be waiting for the tickets. We're going to be giving away Padres tickets in the 1 o'clock hour. There's still time to cheer on the Padres at Petco Park in America's #1 ballpark on Thursday, May 7th at 7:10 when the Padres host the St. Louis Cardinals. First 40,000 fans in attendance will receive a flame-throwing Mason Miller bobblehead presented by Cox. Whether he's shutting down batters or throwing an immaculate inning, Miller always brings the heat with his fastballs. Don't waste to secure your tickets. Visit Padres.com/tickets. And, by the way, in the 1 o'clock hour, we will be giving away a pair of tickets to that Padres Cardinals May 7th game, in which the first 40,000 fans will receive a Mason Miller bobblehead. Tickets at Padres.com/tickets. We'll be doing that in the 1 o'clock hour. Pay attention in the 1 o'clock hour to hear how you can win tickets to the game on May 7th. We got to make sure the comedians don't try to take the tickets. Just saying. Let's get to Juan in Oceanside. Juan, what's going on, man?
What's up, Braden? I'm just calling in to talk about Fernando because the last caller just kind of had or maybe I missed him, but they were kind of talking about Fernando potentially just not having that power anymore for whatever reason.
He said it was he noticed the difference between the leg kick years and then the non-leg kick in terms of like why maybe the ball hasn't been going over the fence.
Right. So I remember on Ben and Woods, I think on Friday, they talked to letters to AJ and talked about how potentially his shoulder subluxation might be a big part as to why he changed his swing and he's not pulling the ball as frequently, which would actually make a lot of sense because we had seen him previously leave a game due to him pulling his shoulder in multiple occasions. And I mean, since he's gotten the surgery, the speculation was that he would lose his power, but his hard hit percentage is up. His launch angle sweet spot is now in the 70th percentile after being in the 30th percentile last year. So obviously it's not about power. It's not about strength. It's just about him making those minor adjustments. And by the way, his launch angle sweet spot last year was much lower. I think it was in the 30th percentile. So the fact that it's gone 30 points higher tells me he's making the adjustments. It's just a matter of time until he gets it over the fence.
I think it's a matter of time for sure. I think it's a matter of time, but I think Juan hits the nail on the head. I mean, I've talked to a lot of hitting coaches and offensive philosophy guys with offensive philosophies and stuff like that. In baseball, the goal is to hit line drives. It's not the launch angle. It's to hit the ball hard and hit line drives. And when you miss, the ball's going to go over the fence. It's going to create better results, and eventually the home runs come. Because you're going up there with a good approach and a good swing path, and you're going up there with a good mindset. And That's how a lot of home runs get hit. I mean, there's a lot of guys in Major League Baseball that say, I wasn't trying to hit a home run. I was just trying to hit the ball hard somewhere. And then it flies out because you square it up and you do things, you're hitting the right way. And Fernando's been doing that so far this year. And so, yeah, he's probably not going to hit 40 home runs. But this is the best opportunity, I think, for Fernando to be able to prevent the shoulder subluxation again, to prevent the, a situation where he leaves with a little bit of an injury or, just to stay in the game for as long as possible and not miss any time. And he's still producing out there. Like it's just not in the home run category. Here's the thing that makes baseball great and awful at the same time. It's the discussions about what stats mean more, Frank. Because for some people, they're going to look at home run stats. For some people, they're going to look at batting average. For some people, it's the OPS. And you can really, in baseball, pick and choose what stats you think are important to defend your opinion on certain players and defend certain contracts or to say why this guy deserves to get paid more or less or vice or whatever. That's the fun of baseball, and that's also a huge negative of baseball at the same time. You could literally look at all of these players' stats and find me a reason why that player deserves to play more than others. You can do the same thing on everybody in this roster, why they should play less. Do the same thing for pitching. Well, I like Matt Waldron because of XYZ. I like Walker Buehler because of ABC. I like Germán Márquez because LMNOP. There's so many of those scenarios in baseball. Now that we bring that part up, Frank, let's have this discussion about the rotation a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now, it might adjust a little bit more tomorrow because Walker Buehler's pitching tonight. But you have now seen 5 starts out of Germán Márquez. You have seen 5 starts out of Walker Buehler. You've now seen 2 starts out of Matt Waldron. Walker Buehler is 1-2 with a 5.75 ERA in 5 starts. And Germán Márquez is 3-1 with a 4.38 ERA. Germán Márquez has done a pretty good job this season. He has gone 4 1/3 more innings than Walker Buehler has. He has limited the walks compared to Walker Buehler by 2. But he has allowed the 6 home runs. Compared to just 1 for Walker Buehler, I look at this conversation, and there's a lot of metrics where you can point in Walker Buehler's direction of why he stays. There's a lot of metrics that point in Germán Márquez's direction in terms of why he deserves to be the better player. As of right now, I think with the way that Matt Waldron has pitched, he has 1 more start left, and unless he throws a shutout or a no-hitter, he's going to be the odd man out when Griffin Canning comes back. But the next question is when Lucas Giolito comes around, assuming no injuries, what are you going to do? We talked about carrying 6 pitchers. We talked about the bullpen. We talked about, maybe moving Walker Buehler to the bullpen. But at the end of the day, you can only have really 5 guys in that rotation. And eventually it's going to come down to Márquez and Buehler, depending, barring any injuries. You can look at all of the numbers, and they're very similar. But what stands out to me are 2 that evaluate the overall value of a pitcher. And there's other metrics too. But as I look at their stat lines, because they're right next to each other on Baseball Reference on the Padres page, Germán Márquez has the slight edge over Walker Buehler right now. He's got a higher WAR, and he's got a way higher ERA+. These are the 2 that are the difference because, wins and losses, I think is a waste of a comparison anyway. ERAs, yes, Walker Buehler's got a 5.75 ERA. Germán Márquez is at 4.38. They're both not that great, but they're very similar, if you will. The innings pitched, slight edge to Germán Márquez. Buehler has more walks, but Germán Márquez has allowed more balls to go over the fence. But Germán Márquez has a 95 ERA+. Walker Buehler's got a 72. Germán Márquez has a 0.2 WAR. Walker Buehler's got a negative 0.1. I think there's some inner workings there. And the biggest thing, again, of course, is strikeout to walk. Germán Márquez has 17 strikeouts to 7 walks. Walker Buehler, 20 strikeouts to 9 walks. This is the perfect example, Frank, of whatever stat you want to use to make your argument. you can use to make your argument because these guys are very evenly matched. I give the edge to Marquez right now because of his overall value results are a lot better. But even then, you look at fielding independent pitching, Germán Márquez has the second highest fielding independent pitching out of any starting pitcher on the Padres right now with a 5.89. Walker Buehler is just 3.28. Every way I look at this, they're kind of the same pitcher right now and I just think like Germán Márquez is a slight above grade than Walker Buehler pending tonight's result.
And we talked about it on the show yesterday that Marquez is also eating innings that Walker Buehler really isn't. He only pitched 2 2/3 innings. I think Marquez has had like 5, 5, and 6 in his last 3 outings, and Buehler has not had that much.
Just overall, Germán Márquez has pitched 4 1/3 innings more than Walker Buehler.
Okay, so
but it's 5 starts though.
Yeah.
Like that means he's going deeper into games at least.
And also,
even if he just pitched an inning more every time, that's 4 straight games where he's pitching a full inning more than Walker Buehler.
That difference could be made up because Buehler only pitched 2 2/3 against Colorado, so they have been more or less even if you take out that start. But I from what we've seen, Buehler is having a lot more of a problem getting through the second time through the order than what we're seeing out of Germán Márquez. And Scraby brought it up yesterday that Márquez is giving up runs early. And then as the game goes on, he locks it down. He's got a lower ERA through his second time through the lineup, lower batting average against his second time through the lineup than he does his first. So it's a complete flip reversal of what Walker Buehler is doing right now as well in that regard. So to me, it's just Buehler. It feels like after both of them pitched at altitude this last time through, Buehler pitched in Denver, Márquez in Mexico City. I think Márquez right now has flipped it and has gotten the edge on Walker Buehler as far as the starting pitching rotation is concerned. I would not be opposed to swapping out Buehler and Hart, but I mean, other than that, I think Márquez is the guy who's going to stay in the rotation long term.
I don't know if this is true or not. So I think I'm going to have to do some research during the break. But I'm just thinking, like, a lot of the times they've left Germán Márquez in, they've had leads.
Yeah.
Like, how much more run support has he gotten? Like, in games this year, the Padres are 4-1 when Márquez pitches. They're 3-2 when Buehler pitches. And so far, like, Buehler pitched in the game where they got 3 runs against the Rockies and they lost 8-3. Mm-hmm. They also lost a 3-2 game to the Giants, in which they only scored 2 runs. And then they put up 8 runs, 5 runs, and 5 runs in the 3 wins for Walker Buehler. For Germán Márquez, his first outing wasn't very good. He got ambushed for 4. Padres only scored 3 runs that game.
That was in Boston.
The first game was in San Francisco. It was against the Giants here at Petco Park. He lost 9-3. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then the other games, they scored 5 runs, 9 runs, 4 runs, 6 runs. Germán Márquez, the other thing that's interesting, again, this is a stat that doesn't matter, but it's interesting. Germán Márquez, every other start, gives up 4 runs.
Yes, and gives up 0 in the start in between.
He has gone 4 earned runs to the Giants, and then a 5-inning shutout against the Pirates, 4 runs against the Rockies, and then a 5 2/3 inning shutout against the Angels, and then 4 runs against the Diamondbacks in 6 innings.
We know what's coming against the White Sox this weekend.
Sounds like a shutty for Germán Márquez. You compare Germán Márquez and Walker Buehler, every single time you go like, oh, slight advantage for Walker Buehler, and then you look at the next stat, oh, slight advantage for Germán Márquez. They're giving you the same. You know what they're giving you? They're giving you number 5 start in rotation outings. Mm-hmm. That's what they're giving you. It might be a little bit more right now in the ERA, but I think it's got a way of balancing itself out, and we'll see what Walker Buehler does tonight. But you look at the splits, and as Frank mentioned, Walker Buehler's dominated his first time through the batting order, but the second time through has been rough. That's usually around the time starting pitchers start getting moved to the bullpen. Mm-hmm. And everybody you see in the bullpen at one time or the other was a starting pitcher. They get moved to the bullpen when they got their stuff, can only win once.
And Marquez, it's the reverse opposite. He gets stronger second time through the order.
Maybe you just piggyback each other.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea. Steve, Frank, Sean will get to you in the 1 o'clock hour. 1 o'clock on a Tuesday. Got a couple of guests coming up for you here in the next segment. Live in studio. They usually join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. We are also giving away Padres tickets in this hour, so stay tuned for that. We didn't get to our midday sports standoff. We'll get back to that tomorrow. This month's prize is a chance to win a pair of field level seats to Padres and Phillies on Memorial Day. We will do that tomorrow. We will not be at the Loft tomorrow. Had something come up here for us, so we usually do our when the Padres have a day game at Petco Park, we usually do our show live at the Loft. We will not be at the Loft tomorrow. We'll be here in studio. So
next time we do that, it'll be for the Dodgers.
Oh, that'll be fun.
A couple weeks when the Dodgers are here.
Oh, fun. Oh, goody.
It's back-to-back weeks in that case.
Oh, joy.
It's the Dodgers and the Phillies the weekend after that.
God, how bad are the Phillies right now?
It's nice.
If it wasn't for the Mets,
it would be so
taking
much
up
more
all
enjoyable.
of the publicity right now. The Phillies got to be sending the Mets gift baskets right now. Hey, thank you. Thank you for just being slightly worse than us. But you know what? Who fired their coach and who didn't? Mets fans still can't beat the Phillies. Hey, we can't even get our coach fired. We're trying to get our coach fired, and you guys beat us to that too. Nice. All right, let's get back to the phones. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Steve and Poway. Steve, what's going on? How's your Tuesday?
Hey, Braden. I want to go back and talk about Jake Cronenworth, which I talked about earlier in the week or last week. And I don't care what kind of swing plane you have. If you don't get a ball that you can drive, you're not going to hit it solid. And when Drake's up the bat, 90% of the time he never swings at the first pitch. So he goes first pitch, 0-1. Now he's down. They throw him a curveball inside, swings at that. Now he's down 0-2. Now they throw him two fastballs on the outside corner, high and outside. Either pops it up to left field or foul. And if they get him down 0-2 or 1-2, they throw him a curveball low and inside, and he swings at it and he's done. If you look at Manny, if you look at Tatis, you look at Laureano, they're constantly swinging at first pitches because normally that's the best pitch in the sequence. I don't know what it is about Jake. I don't know if he's not very smart. I don't know what it is about the guy, but he stands there and lets the first pitch go right down the middle every time. And I gave it the sequence that if I know what to throw him every time he bats, I'm sure that they know. And like I said, swing plane, I get that. But if you never make the pitcher work and put the ball where you need it, because you're always behind the count, you're never going to hit the ball solid.
I think you bring up some good points, Steve. I think it adds to the swing path stuff. I mean, Frank, if you add to the fact that he's up there thinking about his swing and trying to fix his swing, like we talked about, like what Xander Bogaerts looked like he was doing last year, tweaking his swing. He's not going to be thinking about his approach.
No,
he's going to be thinking about his swing.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, the only reason why we're going to this point, and we appreciate the phone call from Steve. Steve's right. That's like the added thing on top of this is he doesn't have the approach because he's thinking about his swing, because in spring training, he tried to get his swing to a point where he could be like his, quote, his old self of hitting the ball over the fence. And now it starts to pile into more stuff that he's worried about and stuff that now makes it even more difficult at the plate. I brought it up last year with Xander Bogaerts, and I gave this analogy again, and I will do it again. But in golf, when you play golf, Frank, you play golf? You ever played golf? Have you attempted to play golf? Yeah,
poorly,
right.
Yes.
When you are thinking in the middle of your swing of what you're going to do with the ball or what you want to do, or you start thinking about your swing mechanics as you swing, you're breaking a window. You're breaking a window. I don't even say you slice. That ball is gone. You better be buying golf balls on Amazon for like $1. Use golf balls. You better be using all the golf balls that you could possibly find on the course and hitting those. If you're thinking during your swing, you all right?
Thinking during my swing, and then all of a sudden the result is, oh no, there's a guy laying in his backyard with my golf ball next to him.
Run. Or he could be like the guy that one of my friends broke somebody's window over at the La Jolla Country Club or something like that. I don't know. He actually broke, it was a glass door.
Oh, God.
He had to pay for the glass door. That's rough.
There was
it's an expensive door.
There's an Instagram guy I follow. His name's Birdogi. Says, yeah, I can hit a golf ball 300 yards, 150 yards straight, 150 yards to the right.
My X and Y axis and probably 150 yards in the air. Do that a lot too. Man, I crushed that. That went really high. That's not going very far. It's too high. It's too high. Who gives a bleep? It's gone. Let's get out to Sean in San Diego. Sean, what's going on, man?
Hey. So, Walker Buehler thing, I kind of was on the fence with everybody. And then I don't know if you heard it, but Sammy had an interview with him on the other day. And literally one of the questions that obviously comes up with every pitcher that comes to the Padres is, hey, how do you like working with working with our pitching coaches and, the whisperer. And his comment literally was, well, we don't agree on everything, but, I think I'm doing okay. And then later in the interview, well, how do you got a pitcher for a coach now? How do you think he's doing? First, well, he's making mistakes, but we're going to do okay. And just the whole attitude he had as a prima donna, I used to be the greatest thing in the game. I'm afraid is carrying over, and he's not. I mean, in that interview, sounded like he's not part of the team at all. And I would question if that isn't starting to play into if the other guys are if he's giving that attitude to the other guys, is he a problem in the house?
Interesting point you brought up there, Sean. I didn't get that takeaway from Sam's interview with Walker Buehler. Did you get that takeaway?
I didn't hear it, unfortunately.
I heard clips of it. I mean, it was like, he asked them how, what's it like playing for like Craig Stammen? And at that point, they had only played like 20 games. He's like, yeah, sure, he's making some mistakes. He's learning on the job, but like, I think we're going to be there was nothing more to it. You might be overanalyzing his comments a little bit. I mean, Walker Buehler's an interesting guy, is what I will say. He's an interesting guy. The pitchers are interesting guys. They are. Pitchers are interesting. That's the nicest way I can put it. A lot like kickers. Like, you just kind of let them do their thing. They're just interesting people. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant here in the Bill House Studios for the Braden Surprenant Show. If you want to join the show today, 833-288-0973. Let's get to Frank in San Diego. Frank, got some issues with some of the noises that happened during the at-bats. What do you got for us?
Yeah. Well, I spend way too much time thinking about how to lower stochastic noise in systems. So you guys pretty much hit it in your last couple of talks, but the batters go up to the plate with a lot of information in their head. At least what I hear from interviews is, well, they're thinking about this. When they see this, they're going to do this. When thinking about that, they're going to do this. And I think you're spot on, just basically going to say, you got to walk up there with nothing in your head. Let your subconscious take over. From the eye to the cerebellum to the subconscious, everything that happens is in the subconscious, and that coordinates the bat with the ball. And when I hear them talking about what they're thinking about when they're approaching the plate, I go. So the idea is, how do you lower the stochastic floor? And I go around to physics talks and give physics talks on it, but on different systems. But it seems to be in play. Just let the guys go up there and do their thing, and they're pros, and they'll pick up everything you tell them in training, but on your conversations. But when they're actually up there, it seems like some of them are kind of looking for things or thinking about things, and the time it takes to go up to the frontal cortex, process something, come back, it's significant amount of time related to time to react to the ball.
Yeah, obviously you want to be able to, and I appreciate the phone call, Frank, and thanks for waiting on hold. In terms of like what's going on in the stadium, they're professionals, right? So they have to be able to block all that stuff out anyway. But there is something to like the paralysis by analysis. And there's a lot of that going on too. Like as a coach, and I deal with 14 to, I'm just going to the full range from freshmen to seniors, right? So 14 to like 18-year-olds. There are players I can give a lot of information to. There are players that I cannot give a lot of information to. And just because I might know information about what other teams run offensively doesn't mean I need to overly explain it to the kids that I coach. And I think the same thing can be said with a lot of these analytic departments. There are some players that can eat that information up and it benefits them. And there's players you just got to keep it simple. And they got to be like fresh as much as possible, right? So there is a little bit of that involved. And as you coach, and like Steven Souza Jr. is doing this now for the first time as the head hitting coach, he's got to understand and know his players and understand like, oh, I could give more information to so-and-so. I'll kind of make it a little bit less here, let the guy go be an athlete, let the guy go play. I mean, there's a lot of that involved too. And a lot of that with the coaching staff will be a little bit different, right? So, with experience, I think Ruben Abel does a great job of that with his pitchers. I think you've seen that with a lot of his pitchers. So, good points made by Frank. Obviously, it's a very complex game. It's a game built on failure. It's a fun game to watch, if you will. When we come back, we got a couple of fun guests for you. Josh Nelson, if you've heard on our show a couple of times in the last calendar year, he's going to come in. He's a longtime Padres fan, San Diego guy. And then Luis Santani. He's also a local comedian in town, also from San Diego, but he's a Cubs fan. So a little bit of fun Padres Cubs banter when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 1:17 on a Tuesday. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. We're the Braden Surprenant Show. We are now joined by a Padres fan and a Cubs fan, two local comedians here in San Diego. We got Josh Nelson, who a lot of you already know. He's been on the show a couple of times. And Louis Centani joining us for the first time. You got to get a fellow Don on as many times as possible, of course. That's going to upset a lot of people sometimes. But both local comedians. Louis Centani's a Cubs fan. Josh, of course, is a big Padres fan. By the way, for everybody watching on YouTube, Josh pulling out the Garvey jersey for the series against the Cubs, a little Cub Buster action. That's a great choice. Did you wake up this morning going like, I know exactly what I'm wearing on the show?
Yeah, I did. I was like, let's pick something that's going to look good and it's nostalgic. Yeah, I brought it out.
So for anybody that doesn't know, because you've been on the show a couple of times with people driving around, tell us a little about yourself, Josh, where you came, grew up, where you went to high school, local ties to San Diego, and what you do for a living.
I am from Escondido. I grew up in Escondido, went to San Pasqual High School, basically born and raised here, left just for college. I love it here. I sell booze and I'm a comedian. So...
Don't you sell booze while you're as a comedian too, right?
Yeah, I do. I'm always selling it.
Selling the drinks.
No matter what, we're selling booze. Yep.
And Louis Centani joining us for the first time, also a local guy. We'll talk about why he became a Cubs fan in a second, but go ahead.
I didn't become a Cubs fan. You're born a Cubs fan, man. That's not. You think I would choose that?
No.
Yeah. Come on. No, I from San Diego, more or less. I was born in Chicago, moved out here as a kid, so I went to uni. Back when uni was a thing. I'm a Don. And I'm a comedian, and I teach writing at San Diego State.
Oh, fun stuff. But it's not. I don't know what's more fun: reading papers or selling booze to somebody.
I'm gonna go with selling booze.
Yeah,
selling booze for
probably
sure.
selling the booze. I'm sure you probably get some interesting things on some papers every once in a while. Let's real quick, Louis, fix your. Try to get your microphone towards, twist
my
it.
face.
Fix your face.
Twist the microphone. There you go.
There we go.
Perfect. All right. Let's talk about the game last night. I want to ask, by the way, do you guys know what a fair or foul ball is?
I'm livid, dude. Livid. Absolutely livid.
Break it. Go ahead.
I mean,
let it out.
So I'm not livid because of the game or winning the game. Like we were going to win, but just Mason Miller's streak going down like that. It's just, I mean, come on. And why isn't that not reviewable? Everything's reviewable. You can review balls and strikes now, but you can't review a foul ball. Makes no sense.
What's the Cubs fan think? Was that fair or foul?
I think we're all in agreement that it definitely looked foul. And I loved the reaction in the stadium because I knew that the Cubs had a chance to come back the moment that everybody lost it. I was like, all right, keep losing it. But also, like, his streak went down because he gave up hits to Dansby Swanson and Pete Crow Armstrong after that.
Yeah, but if that guy doesn't foul there and he gets out, now you got nobody on, it's a whole different inning.
I mean, it could have been a foul ball. He could have hit a home run the next pitch. It's Matt Shaw. He probably wasn't going to hit a home run because he doesn't do that very well. But
yeah, he doesn't get on. He strikes out Dansby Swanson. They were, so it's a whole different game.
What's Miller throwing 19 sliders for?
Because they were sitting on his fastball. You saw it. Swanson was sitting on his fastball, and the next guy was doing the same thing. And so he was just like, all right, I'm throwing sliders. They're not going to hit it.
I thought he was hurt. That was insane. I pay money to go see Mason Miller beat my team. I want to see 104.
I see 104 every time. Mason Miller hadn't pitched in a while either. Like, that was the other conversation. We had somebody calling about that. I will say this. According to the rule book, it's a fair ball.
It wasn't touching the line.
It doesn't matter. As long as, in that particular instance, as soon as the ball is touched by an infielder or an umpire, wherever the ball is, if the ball is in fair play, regardless if it's touching it or not, it is a fair ball. And since
it wasn't in fair play,
the bottom of the ball was in foul territory, but the side of the baseball was over.
No, you look at the picture. It says it's clean. You can see it's clean.
The picture's not a goal line shot, though.
I can't believe you're doing this, man. This makes me so mad.
Somebody did an experiment with the baseball and showed the angle from an umpire's perspective, and like a quarter of the ball is in fair territory. They got it right, but the rule stuff.
Also, he was so close. Like that was my dad and I were sitting there watching from the third base line, and we were laughing because we thought it was foul too. But my dad brought up a point. He's like, if the guy is that close, is he really gonna like? And my dad knew the rule, so he's like, is he really gonna miss that it was hovering over the line like that?
See, that's why, and I agree with you, Josh. the rules dumb. And I agree also. I agree why like you should be able to review everything.
Yeah.
But that's why you can't review it, because they would never be able to see conclusive evidence on the
It looked like
video.
on the picture it was not touching the line, it was inside of it. But yeah, but you can review everything. Well, I don't know. They're like, this play's not reviewable. You're like, why? Make everything reviewable.
How do they not have a camera going down the line yet at this point in Major League Baseball?
I agree.
Like, how many years before we get that camera?
You got to get them both set up.
So obvious.
We got Louis Santani in studio. We got Josh Nelson in studio, a couple comedians. Josh is a Padres fan. Louis is a Cubs fan. How were you born? Was your dad a fan? Tell us the Chicago background as a guy growing up in San Diego.
So I was born in Chicago. My whole family's from Chicago. My parents were born and raised there, lived there till they were in their late 30s. And so, yeah, it's just in my blood. My parents used to always say being a Cubs fan is kind of like being born Italian. You don't get to choose what you're born. And for the first, 35 years of my life, it wasn't a good thing to be a Cubs fan. It wasn't fun. Then we had fun. And since then, I've been okay with it.
Since that point, it's been a lot better. It's been a little bit better. You're not the lovable losers anymore, or still the lovable losers.
I think they're back to it in some ways, but also 2016. I don't know, man. I hope the Padres get to experience it one day. I was there the night you guys beat the Dodgers in the playoffs and knocked them out, and that was awesome.
Sounds
like
Louis,
a shot.
Sounds like Louis needs to go to more Padre games then, if that's the case. If you're at that game,
you give me tickets, I will root hard for you guys.
All right, so what was the experience like as somebody that had never seen his team win a World Series to finally winning that World Series?
It was, it's as surreal as you probably expect it to be. I just remember, all I remember is watching the when Rizzo caught the ball to end the game, and then I was at a bar in downtown, right outside of Wrigley Field, and I got shot in the face with champagne, and I've never had a more positive experience with pain in my entire life. The stinging in the eye, it was incredible. It was incredible.
We just haven't experienced that. That's why I had to ask.
Imagine it feels like when we beat the Dodgers in that series. It was like such a great feeling. It was really like that year we beat them.
When the rain was coming down.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Everyone's singing all the small things. Like, it was a party. I feel like that's what it's gonna feel like.
I think so too. The first instance of a parade seems very interesting to me here in San Diego. It'd be something cool to go attend. I will say this. Here's the other thing as a maybe you relate to this. I always none of my teams have ever won a championship. And so I always want to know what it's like the next season after you win. It's like, all right,
are you just over
do we
it?
try to do it again? Or did we just finally accomplish something that we've never accomplished before? This is great. We've already done what we needed to do. What's that next season like? Or are you just the entire time going we're the reigning champs?
Do you?
No. Okay. So the next season, you're totally accepting of whatever happens because you're like, we got it. It's the season after that you come back and you're just like, all right, why are we still sleeping? What's going on? Because 2017, the Cubs had a decent season. 2018, they just kind of lingered the whole season. I think that might have been the year that we didn't even make the playoffs. We lost to the Brewers in the last week or something. And you just start getting frustrated. And when you trade away your core after that, it is the most devastating thing ever to have to look at a roster and be like, these aren't even the guys that I rooted for anymore. That was the hardest part.
Sounds like you get greedy.
Yeah, it might be. You know what? We have a lot of people that call in and complain about a lot of stuff. And, we've seen, I know I've seen. I think Josh had to delete his Twitter with the amount of tweets he puts out there. The tweets are so funny.
I deleted it.
They're so funny.
I deleted it.
But I tell you what, I still feel like if the Padres were to win the World Series, I still feel like opening day they lose. People are just like, this team is terrible.
Yeah.
Get rid of everybody. This is a joke. I feel like you get a couple of weeks before you go you really start diving back into to caring about the ins and outs of everyday games.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't. We're emotional fans here. Because this is all we have. We got the soccer team, but this is all we put all our energy into this. So we're emotional from day one,
I also think modern sports is more emotional than it ever has been in some ways, because when Mike Ditka won the Super Bowl for the Bears, that guy doesn't pay for a meal in Chicago for the rest of his life. Joe Madden isn't treated like that. And Joe Madden broke a bigger curse as a Cubs manager. And maybe he is, I don't know. But I don't hear him talked about the way the Bears fans talk about Ditka. And I think it's because we are constantly looking for the next thing. And everything's going so fast now in modern sports.
See, I kind of have a different opinion because now you go online and there's reactions to everything. You got reaction videos, you got people talking about it all. So it's just you're absorbing all the content and all the games on a daily basis. So I feel like it's just in your face all the time. So you are more into it, even from day one. Like I was mad about the manager with the bullpen stuff like week 1. So,
First day, guys, guy's a former bullpen pitcher that probably knows way more about bullpens than Josh. What are you doing, man?
Bro,
what's going on?
Josh knows.
I love
Josh
it because
knows.
I got rid of my Twitter and now I text.
Now he just texts me.
him.
Now I just get the texts.
I text him my tweets.
Exactly. This is terrible. I don't know what they're doing. What is he doing, man?
What is he
Audience
doing?
of 1.
I know. Hey, you know what? And we're talking with Josh Nelson and Louis Santana, a couple comedians in town, here, and we'll talk about some of your guys' next upcoming gigs when we come back from break. But the thing is I'm level-headed on the airwaves, but I'm just like you, Josh. Like in the moment, this is like, what is going on? What possibly are they doing? And then you have to sit on it for a little bit, and you have to pull the whole. I go into coach mode since I'm a high school football coach, and I go like, it's probably not as bad as I thought it was. It's probably not as good as you think it is, and you got to you got to flush it immediately in baseball. But in the moment, I don't tweet this stuff out. I do the same thing as you. I put nonsense into my friends group chat.
Yeah,
just nonsense.
My brother gets a lot of long texts from me that I wouldn't feel. I just feel like I look insane, and my brother's the only one who really knows that side of me.
Does your brother root for the Cubs too?
Oh yeah,
because I know he goes to a lot of Padre games. But
yeah, my brother's in baseball, so he knows a lot of guys, and so he's connected. But he still roots for the Cubs. At least he entertains when I get mad about like yesterday. I got mad about when Ty France got that hit. He took strike 3. But we were out of challenges.
Yeah, out of challenges, man.
And so a Cubs pitcher
manage your challenges better.
Why is a pitcher challenging a strike?
There you go.
Manage your challenges better.
I agree.
All right, let's. I do want to talk about what was. I think the perspective is interesting too. We talked a lot about the Padres' perspective of last night's game, obviously from our viewpoint. What's the breakdown from Cubs land after last night's performance? After what happened over the weekend in Los Angeles?
Oh man, I was at the game on Sunday in Los Angeles. That was I've been to hundreds of games in my life. That was the worst one I've ever seen. They just had no fire. And then so last night, what's he sending out the starter for in the 5th inning to face Machado if he's not planning on keeping him in after that? Like, let's see what Machado, who's 2 for 2, does just to test it out. I thought that was terrible, but at the same time, I mean, we have so many injuries. I know you guys have a lot too, right?
Oh, here we go.
Well, I'm not.
Here we go.
I ain't saying it's why we lost, but I'm saying I'm mad at the manager. But what else could he have done? Like at some point, managers have to throw the guys that are on the roster out there, even if they're tired. I don't know.
See, that's exactly the conversation I have after some of the moves. You see a guy running in, you're like, is that Wandy Peralta running in right now in this situation?
Don't even get me started on that guy.
And then
I've seen your tweets on him.
Don't get me started on him, man.
And then you start breaking it down. It's like, all right, well, we've used this guy 4 days in a row.
Yeah.
This guy's unavailable.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, well, somebody has to pitch. He's not going to not pitch.
Yeah.
But, overall, I thought that was, from a Padres perspective, the way they've been playing. They've been putting together some pretty gritty performances, Josh.
Good at bats, yeah.
I want to know, and Josh, I think, was texting me. I'm driving to Stagecoach. And I'm listening to the game with my girlfriend, and I'm getting it's like on the Apple CarPlay, Josh Nelson,
Oh, man,
Josh
my
Nelson,
bad, dude.
and I'm just like, oh man, this is probably awful. What's going on? What was your live reaction to the comeback on Thursday against Colorado?
Oh,
that was
insane.
probably a roller coaster of emotions for you.
Insane. Yeah, I had to go work for a couple hours, and I turned it back on in the 9th. So I was just like, whatever. And then a couple of hits strung together, and then it was losing my mind. It's crazy.
That was a heck of a game on Thursday. But last night, what's the overall takeaway from Josh Nelson? This big Padres guy, where are they at right now? I mean, the start that they had to the season was pretty bleak, but they're second best record in the National League, which is good for second best in Major League Baseball.
I'm really excited about this team because they're taking better at bats. They're getting good at bats, and like the stars really haven't started hitting. Machado's coming around, but like they haven't really hit as good as they can.
Did he get hurt?
Yeah, something like a cramp or something.
We'll see if he's in the lineup or not.
Okay. I just saw him not running to first, and we were all confused. But then he didn't come back out.
And then the only thing that makes me a little nervous is the starting pitching. The bullpen is lights out, usually, and so I'm excited about it.
We'll talk about the starting pitching in just a little bit. We've had that conversation. There's a lot of interesting talking points with the Padres this year, and Maybe you know what? This is what you got to do, Lou. This is what you got to do. With Josh is always second guessing the manager.
Always.
We have an opportunity to really just set it up for him. How do you put this roster together with guys coming off of injuries and making some decisions? Maybe we have to have Josh make the decisions now.
Yeah,
and then you can text him about what in the world is going on, Josh. What's going on with your team?
Well, see, that's a good thing when you're managing yourself and you're not on the hook for any of the decisions, So I get to see what happens and then make the decision. So it's not really fair.
I'd love to see you under pressure. That's what I want to see.
No problem.
We have to give away tickets for Padres and Cardinals. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. There's still time to cheer on the Padres at Petco Park, America's #1 ballpark, on Thursday, May 7th at 7:10 when the Padres host the St. Louis Cardinals. First 40,000 fans in attendance will receive a flame-throwing Mason Miller bobblehead presented by Cox. Whether he's shutting down batters or throwing an immaculate inning, Miller always brings the heat with his fastballs. Don't wait to secure your tickets. Visit Padres.com/tickets. What year was the year the Padres took down the Cubs in the National League Championship Series on the Cub Buster t-shirts where Steve Garvey hit the home run? What year was that? First one to call in.
You bring me here to talk about that?
I love it.
You bring me here to talk about that?
833-288-0973. First one to call in. Tell us the year of the Cub Busters.
My dad was at the game.
We will give you the tickets.
You want to talk about the wild card series last year? I can do that if you want.
We got to go to break. When we come back, we'll talk about the year in question. We'll talk what Louis Santani's thoughts of that series was as we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show. Setting Norman Sports Station 97 through the Fan.
They make stuff up as they go.
140 on the Fan. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. A couple of in-studio guests for the final segment of the Braden Surprenant Show. Louis Centani, local comedian. Josh Nelson, local comedian. Grew up, born and raised here in San Diego. Talking Padres, Cubs. We got the Cub perspective from Louis Centani. We got the Padres perspective from Josh Nelson. And going to break, did we get a winner? I would imagine we probably got a winner pretty quickly.
We did. We got Kevin and El Cajon.
Keith and El Cajon.
Keith and El Cajon.
Keith and El Cajon. Is it Keith or is it Kevin? What'd you put down on the sheet?
Keith. It's Keith.
Some guy named Kevin's stoked right now thinking he won tickets.
Yes.
So the question was, what was the year that the Padres took down the Cubs in the NLCS to go to the World Series? That year was 1984. Saw the Cub Buster t-shirts. Any comments, questions, or concerns about that series, Josh?
It was a great series.
You
Great
said you had your...
My dad was there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he had season tickets that year, and he talks about it all the time.
What's the Cubs' perspective on that?
My dad was there too, but he was in Chicago when things hadn't gone bad yet.
The cool thing was as we went to break and we gave the trivia question out, both Louis and Josh talked about some of the major league guys that they ended up facing because you guys both played baseball in high school, right?
Yeah.
So you played at San Pasquale and Louis played at Uni. You were talking about, we'll start with you, Josh. Talk about some of because somebody in the YouTube comments said Josh Nelson 0 for 20 against me in high school.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get 20 at bats
Yeah.
in a high school. You don't play these teams that many times.
Yeah, we played San Marcos maybe twice, and I didn't hit 10 times each game, and I guarantee I got a hit. I batted 300 that year, but I'm not keeping track. Also, last thing, baseball was my third sport. Like, that was a throwing sport for me. So what do we do?
Like, I got to do something in the spring.
You know, I had to do
something. Guys
something.
Picked up the mic. He didn't pick up the mic yet for the comedy. Too young to sell booze.
Yeah.
You know, he's got to do something.
I had to do something.
You were talking about some of the good play. Like, San Diego's got so many great players in town, but you were explaining like some of the teams that you would go against that were stacked. Some of the players you played against. Who were some of the guys that ended up making it pretty far?
So I got lucky enough to get a hit off Chad Hutchinson, who threw like 98 in high school and went on to Stanford and played quarterback for Dallas. And then we played Eric Chavez and something Munson or something like that.
At Mount Carmel?
At Mount Carmel. And Chavez was just ripping doubles on us all game. Like, he just crushed the ball. He hit the ball so hard, he almost broke my hand one time at first base. Like, just studs.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And you know, Louis was playing at Uni. Obviously, you played Mission Bay a lot. So it was Matt Bush. You know, some of those years, but you've would have got some pretty good players as well.
Yeah, Matt Bush, number 1 overall draft pick, but he lost the CIF championship to us that year. So nice. he was a stud. He was a good competitor. I liked playing against him. I got hit by a pitch by Cole Hamels, facing him when he was with RB. And he hit me 3 pitches. Each one got closer and closer to me. First one brushed me back. Second one knocked me down. Third one hit me. So I got on first base. There's scouts everywhere behind the plate. Like, watch it. And I'm like, I'm going to steal second base off this guy. I don't care how big of a scout. No. You know, he picked me off. So
of course
fast.
he did. Of course he did.
Right away.
Guy's got a big league move. Got a big league move.
He definitely did.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what you guys are up to right now. I mean, obviously, you know, I saw you at the Comedy Store. It was cool. You got the headline in the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
That was fun. A couple of was that a month or two ago?
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Now, what do you got coming up on the horizon here in San Diego?
I'm going on the road a little bit, but I got a show this Thursday in Carlsbad at Park 101.
Hey, that's a big partner of ours.
Yep. Actually, we had a show a couple weeks ago, and we had to start an hour late for the Padres game. So this Thursday, there's no game, so we'll start on time, and it's been a fun show.
That's a cool place.
It's
so
cool.
They have that It's a Bills Mafia bar too. They got all the Bill stuff everywhere.
Yeah, we just do it out in the courtyard, right in front of the big screen. It's been fun. It's been a good show.
Yeah, it's great. Do you get parking for that or?
No parking.
Oh yeah, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Josh taking the coaster to Park 101 up there.
Yep.
So that's your next one, and
Next
any
local
other
show,
other couple stuff coming up, or where are you going on the road?
I'm going to Phoenix for a little bit. Denver, just bunch of other stuff.
Bunch of NL West cities you can talk smack to as you're there.
Some close stuff.
Yeah, that's good. How about you, Lou? Did you said you're going to Chicago, or you just went, or
no? I'll be there in another week. So
okay, cool.
If anybody listening has friends and family in Chicago, I'll be there May 7th doing a show. It's kind of a little homecoming. That's gonna be a real fun one. I'm doing a Thursday night at a place called the Comedy Plex, and so looking forward to that. San Diego, Josh and I, we always do Comedy Store and stuff together, but I'm doing a really cool independent show in Normal Heights called Abnormal Nights in May. A lot of fun stuff coming up. I'm doing the road. I'm also going through the NL West cities in Colorado and Arizona and stuff. And I'm doing my first Canada trip in July.
Sweet.
What part of Canada?
Vancouver.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I always want to go to Vancouver. It seems like a pretty cool spot.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more about you guys as comedians. I mean, what's cool, you've been on our show a couple of times, and so I've gotten to learn like from your perspective. I got to hear Louis 3 times give a speech on career day at Cathedral about what it's like to be a comedian.
I bombed.
And some of it, the best part is all of the career day people were laughing their ass off, and the kids were looking at him like, what is this guy talking about?
16 or 17-years-olds were not interested one bit.
We're all we're just having a great time. What was that like? What was that experience like for you as a comedian? I mean, it kind of played a little, I mean, it almost like you were doing a set, but you had a bunch of kids that would just rather be on their iPads than listen to any of our speeches sometimes.
Well, I think the funniest one was the third one. We had like the athlete in the room was like the fastest athlete in the country or something like that.
Honor Falave.
Yeah, like dude does not need to know another career path. He's going to be making millions almost immediately. And I'm sitting here telling him like, hey, if you want to tell jokes, here's how you can do that. But I mean, I went in thinking I was going to impress those kids. By the third group, I was happily bombing my tail off and just enjoying the silence of it. That was funny to me.
I think so. I was watching some of the kids that did find you to be a little funny. It's okay. But you told some cool stories about a lot of people don't understand the difficulties of comedy from a business standpoint. I mean, obviously most people think like, hey, they show up, they tell jokes, they're telling stories, whatever. But it's the business side of like, I need to sell tickets for this thing. I got to fill this venue. I got to, and you're trying to work your way up to some of those venues. What are some of the challenges you guys have to face in just like the business side of comedy? It's tough.
Yeah, that's the hardest part is selling tickets. The clubs book you if you sell tickets. And so that's our whole goal. And that's why everybody's will be like, come see us in Oklahoma or come see us in Albuquerque. But, if you don't sell any tickets, the club's not going to book you.
Yeah.
So you got to try to do social media and have a following and sell tickets that way. And so hopefully all of a sudden people in Denver go, hey, we do want to come see you. And you build that way. But it's hard.
I mean, how many times do you get a situation where you get like big crowd one night, next night, 12 people, just all over the place? I mean, that seems like it might be a common occurrence. And how do you kind of tailor, like, do you have to change your set based on the audience a little bit or not?
No,
really?
Not usual. Like the amount of people usually doesn't matter. You do your set because you also want to bring it for the 12 people that showed up because, they are there and, they went through a bunch of effort to get there. So you want to put on the same show.
Yeah.
But it's hard, like to, sometimes you're like faking the energy of 12 people versus a couple hundred. But that's what makes you good at the job is giving the best show.
And to a certain extent, you have to call attention to the oddity of those weirder small shows sometimes. Like I did back-to-back nights in New Mexico one trip where one night it was like 80 people in a packed room and the next night there were 3 people who showed up. And
that's hard.
If I acted like it was normal to perform in front of 3 people, it would have felt so distant to those people. So I just talked about how odd it was, won them over. By the end of the night, more people trickled in. It can be weird. And you just have to, until you have a name, you have to just keep going and hustling and grinding and figuring out a way to get your best self out there every night. I don't know.
Social media helps trying to get out there.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I've seen, on social media for you, Josh, you have like some of the, special stuff that you guys do. Is that predetermined when you're going to use that? Like, obviously, like having the backdrop of the Comedy Store is great. Like, do you pick one of the shows Do you pick? Is that an after? Do you film both shows that night and pick the better one? Like, how do you guys go about like picking your spots of like which ones that you want to repost for social media?
Well, if it's for social media, you just you film everything, and then whatever you think is the funniest, that's what you end up putting out. But you're basically now we're filming everything, we're editing it all, we're doing it all. Some people outsource it or whatever, but yeah, you just always film because you don't know when something's going to happen. You don't know when the crowd's going to say something funny, and then you go off of that. So yeah, you just film everything and then go from there.
And people are so into authenticity now too that I look for moments where I'm like, this is who I am a little bit too. Because people, you know, there's funny people everywhere. There's good comedians all over the country, all over the world. And so if you can find a moment that somebody's like, I see the world like you, and then maybe you can kind of get those people to be your fans. I got a bunch of Great Dane people who are my fans because I talk about my dog, you know?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo is a dog. You got a Great Dane?
I do. I got a.
Is that thing bigger than you? Those things are huge.
He's bigger than you.
For sure. If it's bigger than you, he's definitely bigger than me. That's cool.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
By the way, I want to answer this question in the chat. Yes, we definitely performed at Lestat's many times.
Oh, yeah, for
Somebody
sure.
asked about that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, Adam Paul in the chat. That guy's probably looking up your. Adam Paul is very entwined with the high school sports scene, so he probably knows. He probably knows that you hit 300 that senior year or whatever it was.
This other guy, I think it's my buddy Jeff Sabisma. He's saying his first sport he was a cheerleader, and nice. That's a good pull. Yeah. All right. I was a cheerleader in college. I did. I played football and then went to cheer. So that's
you
fair.
did cheerleading in college?
I did. I realized I wasn't going to play. I walked on to Colorado State and wasn't going to ever play. So I was like, all right. Then I went over and saw the cheerleaders and did that.
Is that for real?
Yeah,
that's
true.
cool.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The guy, I had a buddy that did that at Villanova.
It was a blast.
Yeah, they went to the national championship twice in basketball. He had front row seats.
Yeah, I got to go to March Madness. I got to go to all that stuff. It was great. Bowl games on the field.
People don't realize like most of the male cheerleaders in college are ex-football players that can lift and like have to do all this crazy stuff, and it's kind of a fun deal.
Yeah, it was. Like the 2-minute routine was harder than any practice I ever had to do. So it was tough. It was hard work.
I believe
never knew that about you.
Yeah. I keep it quiet.
Walker Buehler tonight. What do you want to see out of Walker Buehler, Josh?
5 innings, 1 run. Looking good. Control.
Who are you keeping on the team? Matt Waldron Walker Buehler or Manny Marquez? That's going to come down eventually. Who's been pitching better? It's been
I need
going
to see
back
another
and back.
month of them pitching.
Be going back and back.
I know.
Do you think Buehler's time with LA gives him any sort of edge if you get to them later in the season?
I'm so holding my breath on that.
No,
that's usually like a high hope, and then
I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah.
When does the decision have to be made? In the next month?
Well, no, they don't have to. They're still okay because they have Griffin Canning's expected to come back in the first week of May.
Waldron's
and I would
not gonna
imagine
stay out.
Waldron's gonna get the short end of the stick there, but then it's when Lucas Giolito is ready to go that they might have to make a decision. Tonight's matchup for the Padres, it's Walker Buehler, and he's going against Edward Cabrera.
Cabrera's good though.
What do the Cubs got to do to win tonight, Louis?
Well, I mean, first off, Cabrera's got to throw. He's got to throw at least 6. The bullpen's beat up, man. I look at your guys' bullpen. You guys have Adam. Jeremiah Estrada, he's not healthy right now, but he's on your team. These are all guys the Cubs got rid of, and we're pitching with nothing right now. So we need our starters to go 6. If he gets 6 solid innings, then maybe they can piece together 3, and got to score, man. Just simple, right? Good coaching.
Wow,
score more than them.
Just got to score, man.
Your brother's gonna call in after our show's over to complain about your baseball analysis.
Hey,
score more than the other team.
Score more and give up less.
Josh,
that's my management technique.
What are your keys to the game for Padres and Cubs tonight?
Just good at bats, hit. We got to get 5-6 runs. I think.
Cronenworth start today.
Don't get me started on Cronenworth, man. I think Tatis is way more involved when he's at second, but right-hand pitcher, they'll go with the lefty Cronenworth tonight, and maybe he gets a hit.
You want to see Tatis at second more?
I like it. He's hits better. He's engaged. He's a good athlete. He can play it, especially when a lefty's pitching.
You worried about the home runs? I'm not. He's hitting the ball hard.
I mean, yeah, he's hitting the ball hard, but it would be nice for some power too. But
Cubbies need to draw on the luck of the Pope.
Yeah. He's a Sox fan.
Yeah, it's next weekend. My bad. I'm sorry, that's the weekend. My bad.
The Mets guy got the Chicago teams mixed up. For Louis Santani, Josh Nelson, Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant signing off. Gwen and Chris coming up next.